let's get down to it, Bopper.
Afro and Friends.
Yeah, let's get down to it, Boppers. The Ron and Fez Show. Friday, our first day back of the new year, March 20th, 2015, which means today, first day of spring. You made it, America. High five yourself. Start to think about a summer vacation now. I recommend Dorney Park. Fez Watley, spring doesn't start until later today, though, officially, right?
Right, 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time.
So what does that mean, Fez? At 6:45, you're going to be doing what?
I am going to try to put an egg stood up on its end.
Egg stood up on its end. This can be done put it up on the iBank, please. Yeah, please put it up. Thanks. It's the spring equinox. Some people begins with a V, like...
The venereal's not it.
It's the venereal equinox, ladies and gentlemen. So, for the egg stood up on its end, at the exact time, 6:45, you're going to be able to take an egg and call the kids in for this. It's the only time that you can do it. You put it up end to end, and at the exact time it'll stay there. What I always do is do it a couple minutes before the venereal equinox takes place. Now, you're bringing me eggs, but you can't do it now.
It's 6:45 p.m. Eastern. We just said that.
Okay, so everybody back out of the studio. You won't be able to do it now. Who had the kids ready to go with eggs? What was that about?
I don't know, because I brought up earlier that it's not until tonight.
Why would anyone bring eggs in now?
So we don't need eggs in the studio.
Why do they have eggs? And why were they ready to go with this?
That part was my fault. I thought, I didn't realize it was later tonight.
But you were the one who just told me. You just told me 6:45, and I believed you. So you'll have the kids around, or you'll have a bar bet is a great time to do this. Have an egg. Let the other person pick it out so you see it's a regular egg. And then you're able to stand it up. The video is on the iBang right now. You could do this at 6:45 tonight, the vernal equinox. And it's a fun little bit. Ray in Georgia.
Yeah, what's up, buddy? You already caught me. I was going to tell you it was the vernal equinox.
The vernal equinox. So, Ray, make sure you have an egg ready. And if you don't have one at home, our interns, 2 at a time, will deliver eggs to you. They'll actually just show up mid-sentence and try to hand you eggs 6 hours and 45 minutes in advance. It's a crack team. Not necessarily a good team, but a crack team. Like a bunch of people on crack. Smoking crack. Cracked up. Friday, we did not do the Bennington show today. But as I understand, Sam is going to be doing his show at 3 o'clock over on Opie Radio. And you may want to check that out because, well, it's 3 hours dedicated, kind of a 30 for 30 to Strike Force. So any of you folks that enjoyed old-time wrestling and you ever listen to this show, it pops up at least once a day lately. Strike Force, a Sam Roberts 30 for 30. And get me what E-Rock's doing tonight. Jump on that. He's good. He's good. Or just bring in some eggs. Or uncooked bacon. I think at 6:45, if you take uncooked bacon, put it on a table, it'll start to sizzle. Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, the equinox deal with the egg, you can do that with a broomstick, too, and it works. The broom will stand straight up.
Wait, what are you talking about? You can take a broomstick and just...
You can take You can just take a broom, and you can stand the broom straight up also.
I'll be trying this as well now. Now,
Yeah,
here's the thing about that. It can actually stay like that for a long time. All right, people are writing to me that last year the equinox happened while we were on the air, and we did it, or maybe 2 years ago, and it's always Groundhog's Day here, so we try to do the exact same thing regardless of what the schedule is. Has that been sent over, or are you just sending on it?
It has not been sent over.
So send it over instead of sitting. Chinese food is back. People are also writing this in about the new app. It seemed like the show started earlier. Is there less streaming? Is the streaming less delayed in the new app? I don't know that, but so far I'm getting a lot of good responses to the new app. We don't plug it much on this show because we don't like to clutter things up, I guess, with pertinent information. Like the fact that starting Monday, you can start and hear this show at 9 o'clock over on the Indie channel. That's 9 o'clock a.m. to 12 noon in the East, which I think ends up being, out on the West Coast, I think like 3:13 a.m. I don't know how it works, but apparently, if you make a left in this country, you lose time. Science hasn't figured it out yet, but you actually lose time. I believe the old time was 7 a.m. to 10 a.m., but we've now moved that from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Looks like I'm getting the update right now on E-Rock. On E-Rock's show tonight, the one and only Chris Elliott. I thought he did that last week. And then Brian Lynch, comic book writer, all on E-Rock's show tonight. No Strike Force for him. This Strike Force show is going to be unbelievable. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Yeah, there is a lot of heat for E-Rock's show right now. It normally gets a lot of love during the Bennington show, but in this case, we did not do it this morning. Took a little round of beat time to rest. Todd from Detroit. I don't know what you want to talk about, but how are you, Todd?
Very well, Ronnie. I just wanted to congratulate you on cornering your market and getting Pete Dominic fired. You are truly taking over your industry.
Pete Dominic is now out of radio, I think, except for Canada. He's on a Canadian station where his liberal leanings there are embraced as purely conservative. He's considered the Rush Limbaugh of Canada. In this country, he's to the left of Bill Maher. Up there, he's to the right of Rush Limbaugh. Time and place. It's all about time and place. Fez Whatley, how are you doing today?
I'm a little nervous.
Why is that, Eggman?
Because of the big egg mistake.
It wasn't you that did that. Let the shit roll downhill. Why are you nervous? You had a giant show yesterday. A lot of people were very, very interested in hearing every minutia of your personal life. And as a matter of fact, the stuff that Gurian called you with, I thought was interesting. He says it's better than performing. He said when you just sit and tell the truth, you can do that because it's better than performing. You don't have to make things up or be entertaining. You just lay it all out there, one piece at a time. Now, you claim that you have synesthesia. Is that true?
That is true.
There is a piece up on the iBank today. We got to get somebody over there who follows along with the things that are going up so he doesn't have to wait to be told to do it. But if you look at this, you will know whether you have synesthesia or not. Now, at what age did you figure out that you had this, I'm going to say, dreaded condition?
The first time I remember it was 4 years old in pre-kindergarten.
4 years old, pre-kindergarten. This comic book there's a part of it that can only be seen by people with synesthesia. Now, Fez, do you see this? It's sitting there. I see the two gentlemen sitting next to each other, right? Standing there.
Yeah.
Hands on their hips, one has their arms folded. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see those guys.
All right, move to the left, and what is it that you see? There should be something to the left that people with synesthesia see.
I see a wristwatch.
Just a wristwatch?
Yeah.
And where is it exactly?
It's in the upper left-hand corner.
You do see that?
Yeah.
Then according to this test, you do not have synesthesia. Because normals can see the wristwatch, but people with synesthesia see an hourglass. So, that's it for you, Fez.
I still have synesthesia. I do it with numbers and colors. I just don't do it with timepieces.
No, whoever has synesthesia will see the hourglass. Normies, as we're called, will see the wristwatch. Did you think that you were the only one in the room that could see the wristwatch?
It was so clear, I thought, this is coming right to me.
That makes me proud, because I really wanted to, make you think you were kicking the football and feeling good about yourself, and then I'd Lucy that shit. So if you go over and check this out, what is the name? I think the name of this brand new comic is Cronuts.
It's the Chrononauts.
Then you do indeed have synesthesia. If you see a cronut as that. So are you surprised that you don't have it?
No, I'm not. I'm surprised that because I do have it.
Let's work on, why do you want it? Why is it important to you that you've been faking this for so many years? But why would you want it?
I find it very unique.
It is unique, and you don't have it. Or else you'd be able to see the hourglass that's there. And by the way, this isn't my test, Fez, but I'm willing to say I believe in it 110%.
I believe it's the Chrononauts test.
So that's up on the iBank today. So two big things that you can run over and do. One, learn how to amaze your friends by making an egg. And now a broom. Stand straight up, witchy style. I'll do that. I feel like I need to go buy a new broom just to make sure, though. And then two, make the egg stand up right there during happy hour where you can win shots for someone. Now, anyone who can see that hourglass, you will then be able to join the show because we have an open for a synesthesiac or a cine that we had filled on this show for many, many years. 15 years you've been holding that. You know what this reminds me of, Fez? It's like those movies where the fat old guy is the sheriff and everything works out until a real gunslinger comes to town and just, shoots him right away. So the first test that you've had over all these years, because we believed you when you told us you had this mutation, we now find it's a goddamn dirty lie, which I'll give you credit for. You fucking fooled us. You came by us with a fucking fastball, my friend.
I didn't fool anyone.
Well, a lot of people thought you were lying. That is true. But we were looking for the hanging curve, and you brought the fucking heat. Congratulations, big man. Savor the flavor. We ain't falling for your bullshit again. Here's David in San Francisco.
Fezzy, it's been known that you could pop a boner and balance on the ground with it, so give it a shot.
You can try it first and let me know how it works out.
All right, come on, you two.
6:45 p.m.
Come on, you two. Let's just stop it. I wrote a song for you, Fez. You faked it well. We really believed you had synesthesia. That was cool, though. How did you first get the idea to pull this rouge?
I did not pull anything. I do have synesthesia.
I know. You told us you refused. You're grossed out by it. You told that to us during your lengthy truth bomb yesterday, which a lot of people have written into me. A lot of them want you to read books. I don't know.
Well, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I know. Why get better if you have to read a book? Why not just live in anxiety? But there's quite a few that make the panic all turn around. Here is, I want to read this off because unlike other shows, we're using this new format called electronic mail. We just don't have a drop for it.
And now, Ron and Fez, the show of the future, brings you
electronic mail. Mail sent electronically.
And this mail is from a gentleman named Matt, who listened to Andy from Cleveland telling us yesterday that the Lone Ranger is really just about a guy who was saved by his horse and his Indian on every occasion, and that's why people didn't get the Johnny Depp thing, but it worked. It says, "Hi, Ron. Please tell Andy from Cleveland that the Lone Ranger was not about a guy who gets saved by his Indian friend and his horse. Tonto was never the hero of the show. It was always the Lone Ranger. Tonto was the one guy in the TV show that had to be saved." Sorry, Ron. I don't know why this pissed me off as much as it did. And then he goes on to say that he, about a month ago, hit black ice. Ended up upside down. And when the police officer arrived, he asked for his ID to get his wallet. He opened it up in the hood, and he just looked at me and said, "Big-ass card holder. It's been the front of every wallet I've ever had since I got it." And from that point on, he was a buddy. So, two old school WNEW listeners, Fez, with the big-ass card holder, which we used to give out. Sometimes when people hear the number that we do this, hoo-ah! We used to just have parties just for the people who had the big-ass prize. We would have contests that only the people that were card holders could win. It was a way of saying to your listening audience, not all of you matter to us, okay? We have narrowed it down. We don't broadcast, we narrowcast. That's why we became very big in the synesthesia world. We had a lot of synesthesia fans until today, when the world found out the truth. For the last 15 years, Fez and I have been running a carny trick. We wrote a bit where Fez pretends that he has synesthesia, and he doesn't. That's what we're known as. The guys who fuck with you. I'm ready to do like a major April Fool prank this year. I just want to fucking get everybody to feel like a rube. We did it with the synesthesia thing, Fez. Do this. Long distance, pound. From across the room. Long distance, pound. We got him. Your lies and my trust have made everyone look like an asshole. Boom. Punked. Even before the show happened. Here's John. John, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Ryan, I'm sure you're doing great. I was reading that if you have synesthesia that you can talk for 3 hours on the radio, so maybe Fez had it and he's just cured.
This is a guy that likes to fuck with you, Fez.
It's the only thing he has in his poor, pathetic life.
Well, Fez, we got to take it easy on people today. I mean, we've got the entire synesthesia community ripped mad at us. Oh, and another thing I got to tell everybody, another joke, Fez never had vitiligo. It's a bit that he would just put some white stuff on his face. I believe it was male cum, and then made people think that he had a discoloration in his face. Another long distance pound, Fez. We got them all. There's a sucker born every minute. And we're talking about you, trusting and loving listeners. We got it in for you. And we got the big cat pulling it off. By the way, he's twins. That's how we were able to do that bit where it looks like he appears on the other side of the stage. Fez took his glasses off right now, so that means he's serious. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. Hey, Turtle.
Hey, buddies.
Yeah.
I'm so sad right now. Tell me, is Maha Bone alive too?
Yes, we told everybody that the Shriner greeting was Maha Bone.
Oh, Jesus.
The Shriners have a code. They say Maha Bone. Phyllis Diller's on the phone. Yeah, we made that up. That is another Ron and Fez prank. We do it, but out of love. I'm going to reveal the carny tricks we've been doing to you people for years. This is one that we're completely proud of. Fez's father not only did not die, but Fez was never even raised with a father. Boom. Another thing, Fez is married and has 4 children. 2 of them special needs. Boom. That's how it happens. We prank everyone all the time. Here's another prank that you guys fell for hook, line, and sinker. Jeffrey Gurian is a character played by our own Fez Whatley. Boom. Fez never had a cat. He was playing the part of himself and Skippy that day. Genius, prank, boom. That's how it goes. Sean in Ohio, what do you got?
Million bucks, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Hey, at 6:45, you can also stand an umbrella on its end. I don't know if you know that.
I don't have one because Fez's father that he never had passed away, and I gave it to his mother, who is really an aunt. All the carny fucking tricks are out there. Dean.
Ron, Pepper Hicks, real or ruse?
He is real. He's also in rehab. Please stop asking me about it, and don't bring it up to him when he comes back.
Okay.
I hope the best for him, but I plan on leaving little airline and hotel liquor bottles all around the office. Why? Let's see how good your fucking rehab work, motherfucker. There it is. Sweet, sweet liquor to make you forget your rehab pain. I went and saw Chris yesterday, and I'll just say this because I gave him my belt in case he wanted to choke himself out. He's never lived without it. Joe in Utah.
Hey, Ron, I was calling for another reason, but I just realized, does Fez use his real voice?
No, that is not Fez's real voice. Fez is a Spanish fellow, long and lean. Fez also not only reads books, he writes books under his pen name, Jeffrey Gurian. He's written The History of a Comedy Club and Dirty, Sick, Misogynistic Jokes for, as he puts it, minorities. Up on the iBank today, very, very cool stuff. Oh, also coming in just a couple of minutes, a lot of people probably thought this was a prank, the Wrecking Crew, because we had the director on like 3 years ago. So for 3 years, people have written to me, and I'm not even making this one up. This is fucking straight shoot. Hey, where can I get that DVD? That movie sounds so great. It's out now. Matter of fact, Chris gave me 2 bum things last night to watch it from my computer, And like one, I got to, it wouldn't let me watch it because my name wasn't Chris Stanley. The second one, the buffering was like rough on it because I guess people like were watching it all over the country. And then finally I figured out, wait, I can just watch it on demand. I had no idea it was on demand last night. So, damn, it's just unbelievably great. It's just really, really a fun documentary that Denny Tedesco did about his father, Tommy Tedesco. I don't know whether I got a list of all the Wrecking Crew members there, but all these great, I don't need it. That's okay if he's coming in now. All these great L.A. session musicians who wrote most of the songs that you've ever heard from the 1960s. I guess that was another great prank, like some of the ones that we did to you. That's what we do's, Fez. That's how we do's it. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. The prank thing throwing you off a bit, Fez? Is that why you leaned away?
No, I was nervous before that.
What are you nervous about, Big Cat?
Just anxious and...
Why?
Locking up.
How come? Let's fucking, stop being silly and let's get truthful for a minute. What's going on with you, man?
Just the same normal nervousness.
I'll tell you why Fez is nervous, and I'm going to finally tell that true story, too. And the reason that we left Florida and came to New York City is because back in the late 1990s, Fez Whatley, which is not his real name is Todd Hillier. Todd Hillier killed an elderly couple down in Florida, outside of Melbourne, to tell you the truth. At a rest area, they were having a picnic, and he just got the urge. He strangled them both, took their picnic basket, came over to my house. We split the treats, as we like to call it, egg salad and chicken wings. And then we said, we better get out of Dodge. Your fingerprints and jizz stains are all over that couple and the picnic table. So we hightailed it, hooked up with O&A, the only two people that we knew who really were worse than Fez as far as a criminal background go, and have been here ever since. Perfect plan, perfect crime. Glad we did it. But now Fez suffers from the guilt, and he gets that on a daily basis.
They're still looking for the picnic strangler.
All right, you're in. Jason, how are you?
I'm doing great, Ron. I just had a question. I just want to set the record straight. Is Shelby one of Fez's special needs sons?
No, Shelby is actually a girl that Fez and I tag team after the show. I'm glad some of this stuff is out there, and maybe now you'll see it for being as remarkable as it is. Other shows do not do that. They don't run these elaborate pranks and punking of their audience because they do not have the distaste for their audience that we do for you people. That makes zero sense at all. Why would I want to have the notable artists? I was talking about the crew members themselves. He brings me into a short list that just says Nancy Sinatra on it. Justin.
The Grand Budapest Hotel is now my favorite Wes Anderson movie, and I really want to thank you for recommending it. It is a fantastically funny movie. I just watched it last night.
It is Friday, so that means we have to rank and re-rank our Wes Anderson movies. I don't know what's my favorite. It was, up until a couple minutes ago, Rushmore, but I might have kicked back out again. It switches on a constant basis. It's like a snow globe with all the movies in there, and they all just drift around. Andrew in Jersey.
Hey, is Fez's brother Corky real, or is it just one of his characters? I'm going to tell you something.
I'm going to let you in on this. Is going to fuck with you. Fez is quirky, but it's Fez that's not real. He's actually quirky.
That makes sense.
Here's Terry. Terry.
Selling $1 million, says. Ron, is Black Girl really black?
I'm just going to point out to you that our interns who are typing up stuff for me today have this up. Is Black Girl real? Yes, black girls are real. Black Girl is, of course, not real. It's just another one of Fez's racist characters. Welcome to Inception, ladies and gentlemen, where it goes on and on and on. Is Denny here? We have, oh, Jesus Christ, look at that rating. The Wrecking Crew is finally available to rent on iTunes. Go to wreckingcrew.com for screening locations and additional information. Facebook.com/The Wrecking Crew. This is an unbelievable documentary about some of the greatest session writers of all time, and the number of people who they played on the hits is like a who's who of the 1960s, including the entire Pet Sounds album. They worked on Simon & Garfunkel, Cher, Glenn Campbell, Carpenters, Mamas and Papas. The list goes on and on. Basically, if they were out of L.A. in the 60s, you were probably just listening to one band, The Wrecking Crew. Denny Tedesco has spent years getting this film made and then out, and we're proud to have him in here. Let's welcome back to the show, Denny Tedesco. His long Ulysses-type trip is finally coming to an end, making this film, taking it around the festivals, making sure you got all the music. How many years has it been altogether?
19, coming up 19 in July when the first day of shooting. I
think I met you about 3 years ago, and for 3 years people have written to me saying, when can I see this? When can I see it?
It's funny because we were talking about it earlier. You know, I never gave up, you know, because people like that. Because they would say, or I've seen it in a theater, we saw it at this festival. Right. We love it, you know, and really made a difference, and da-da-da. And I just kept going, thinking, sooner or later I'm going to get there. You know, and we did. I mean, but we only got there because of the help of, like, yourself and people that listened to you and the people that followed us on Facebook, people that donated, people that told people. Yeah. It's all a word of mouth.
Well, it's been an amazing thing, and I think it really goes back to the love of this music and not even realizing how ingrained it was. I remember the first time that I watched this, I choked up at a couple of different points. I'm not even sure. Yeah. You know, it may be the story, but it's just my own memory of some of these songs.
That's it. And that's exactly what... You know, if someone said, it's every song's a bookmark in our life. Yeah. You know, for you, it might be one song. For me, maybe it's, you know, as silly as it is, maybe it's the Partridge Family. Because, you know, my brother was 10 years older than me. But everybody knows where they were when they were listening to that song.
Well, when the Bonanza theme came up, and the fact that everyone knows this song, and yet you don't think about the song itself or who played on it. Right. That's why when you watch this movie, it feels like you've taken the red pill, right? It feels like your version of reality suddenly shifts, and you're going, yeah, where did this come from?
Yeah, you know, someone asked, they felt like, you know, like it's a conspiracy. It's like, no, it was just part of life. It's how they made albums. They made TV shows like this. That was what they did.
Well, you have to remember, too, that rock and roll was so young that a lot of those bands were only 17, 18, 19 years old. They weren't going to be able to pull that off.
No, and that's exactly why my dad and Hal Blaine and these guys had a career. 1960, Dad's 30. He's been around for, you know, he's been playing guitar for 20-something years. You know what I mean? So he knows how to work the studio. He knows how to record. He's got those chops. And where it was mono at the time. So those guys, you know, they had to nail it. As what Glenn Campbell said, he said, listen, I was playing with Michael Jordan. Everybody in that room was a Michael Jordan. You had to nail it the first time, second time. You didn't go back and cut in like now. You didn't. You don't Pro Tools and all that other stuff. You don't have that then. You had to all do it together. We're gonna nail it and get out of there in 3 hours.
Now, did they only? And we're talking about the Wrecking Crew. The movie is available on iTunes. I watched it on demand last night, but you can. The theater experience is out there as well,
yeah.
And that's the way that you really want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's always something about it. Watching it with a group has been so much fun for me. I've seen it hundreds of times.
Yeah.
Now I'm watching the audience because I love, like, those certain parts of it are very funny. And I didn't know they were funny until I saw it with an audience.
What was something that you didn't realize was funny?
When Nancy Sinatra's talking about these boots were made for walking,
Yeah.
and she said that Lee Hazelwood, who wrote it, for a man, and she says it's wrong for a man to sing this, and people laugh at that. And she says it's right for a nice little young girl to sing, and I thought, and I didn't think that was funny when you're doing it when you're sitting by yourself cutting it. But with a group, they start laughing.
That's the other thing you just bring up, Lee Hazelwood's name. There was so many characters in that time period. God. So many bigger-than-life guys.
Yeah.
And that's when you find out that they're bigger-life people that actually played these songs as well.
I just found out, like, Strangers in the Night, a great example, Frank always wanted to do it with an audience, and he didn't want, and it was Jimmy Bowen was the producer. Dean Martin convinced Frank to say, listen, why don't you get Jimmy, the kid that's producing for me, to do this song, do something with you. So they picked Strangers in the Night. Frank didn't like Strangers in the Night, Nancy was telling me, and didn't like it at all. He goes in, does it, 2-3 takes, whatever it was, knocks out. When he starts, do-do-do-do-do at the end, he forgot the lyrics.
Is that right?
So he walks out. He's done. I'm out of here, guys. See ya. He goes, and they look at each other, and Jimmy Bone looks to Michelle Rubini, the piano player, said, "What do you think?" Well, it's either going to be a hit or biggest flop ever.
Yeah.
And that's how that worked. It was, magic.
Well, there's so many places that you just find out a little hook changes everything.
And that's because they were together. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between now and then, is they were in the studio together. So if Hal's or Joe Osborne, they're playing together and one's taken in one way, the other follows, or vice versa, mistakes happen, mistakes become the hit. You can't do that now. If everybody's laying down the tracks, the bass or the drum goes down, then the bass goes down, and everybody starts piling on top of it, you don't have influence there. No one's taking somebody in a different direction.
We lose that human improvisational thing that's so interesting.
The communications, there's no communication between anybody.
I think that the other part of this is so amazing is that there's so many, like, you give little segments to people, but any one of them could be a movie in itself.
Absolutely.
You could have followed Hal Blaine forever, Carol Kay.
Yeah.
Those scenes are like so amazing. And I love the fact that they don't even have the same memories about what happens.
Oh my God. That's, in the movie when they say, Hal says, we were at the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. I realized after making this film recently, I was at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
Obviously I did it because my dad was passing away, and, but if I'd done this now, I couldn't do it now because of memories. People have passed. It just, it's so difficult to make a movie like this when people's memories are,
Dr. John was in here, and he said to me one day, there was no wall of sound. That was just him ripping people off by putting, and I'm like, that's the funniest story. I don't know whether it's true or not. I never heard it anywhere else. But that's what you get throughout this piece. I saw the thing where Carol Kay said, no, we played for the Doors too. And other people said that they didn't. So those things go back and forth.
Yeah, it's that's the hardest part now. I mean, in the movie, I made sure I checked everybody's credits.
Right.
But, it is hard. It is hard. And here's the thing, is when there's a discussion of like, oh, they didn't do that, or this person is mistaken. You realize in 1962, 63, even 67, these guys are going 3 to 4 dates a day, recording dates a day. So they're doing maybe 3 or 4 songs in those hours. So they could do 12 songs a day with 4 different groups. So at the end of the day, don't forget, they're not making hits. They're recordings.
Yeah, they're recordings.
So no one remembers what they... My dad thought he was on Boots Were Made for Walking. Until later we said, no, he's not. And he goes, I didn't know that. Oh, all right. And moved on. But they all thought that.
I've seen Leon Russell say he wasn't sure if he was on certain things. And you were like, how could you not know? Because
they didn't know.
A lot of times they were just playing the charts anyway, right?
But Up and Away is a perfect example where Jimmy Webb gave the guys, after he won the Grammy, a nice little Grammy charm. And Dad said to Hal, what's this for? And he says, it's the thing we did with the Fifth Dimension, Jimmy Webb, last year. It just won the Grammy. So, oh, okay. Now, if you listen to the song now, you go, how did he not hear his guitar lick? Because he was famous for that classical acoustic. That was his thing. But he wasn't listening to music. He didn't go home and turn on the radio. He so did not listen to any of that. He didn't want to know. He went home. He, played cards. He ate. He, smoked, and that was it.
Just to get away from it for a while.
He never pulled out a guitar. I never saw my dad play guitar at home until the 70s, when he started maybe practicing for his own jazz album. That was it.
Well, not only did you do an amazing job with this, but you've also done an amazing job getting the word out. I mean, if you just hit Wrecking Crew right now into Google, just everybody is talking about it.
It's crazy.
The Rotten Tomatoes is through the roof for you guys. But, I remember we were talking 3 years ago, people would write them and go, I had never heard of some of these people. Yeah. You've been able to do that thing for your dad where you gave something back to him. It is a legacy.
It's funny because it's starting to hit now. I was saying yesterday, walking through New York, to here, to Sirius. I was thinking, wow, I feel like we actually did it now.
You did it.
But, people would say when you made the film, you got all those awards, and say, wow, you did it. I said, no, we haven't done it. I'm proud of what we did, but, until it got out to the public, until it was real in theaters, and it was real on iTunes, because that's the only way you're ever going to get to see it.
Sure.
Other than me taking it to your house and showing it to you, or me renting a theater, and that's what I did for the last 4 years.
Well, I think the initial interest was musicians.
Yeah.
Musicians know who Tommy Tedesco is, and great players would talk about him. But now that's being introduced to the general public, and it gives people more of an appreciation for something that they somewhat took for granted.
Yeah, I know, and there's always a story out there that we love to learn about. It's like there's something out there that it's like this 20 Feet to Stardom.
Yeah.
Thank God that came out. That's a great story. Muscle Shoals. There's always a story out there that we want to know.
But you know what? Like, you guys did just the short piece on Herb Alpert. And that was so fascinating. To see that this music that, again, when I remember being younger, just think of it as parents' music.
Yeah.
Now I just think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But then also to see what a good dude he was. And then that turns into, you kind of see, oh, no wonder he had a great business career after that.
Yeah.
He treated people right.
Absolutely. That was one of the things where, the guy said, Herb made Lonely Bull.
Yeah.
It was a scab date. They did it for cash, whatever. And then when it became a hit, Herb went to the union, paid the fine, and then paid everybody's scale, which was awesome, and from that point on, those guys, if it goes to a movie or film, they get a piece, they always get a piece of the, the recording.
And that's just being a righteous guy, just
Absolutely.
being a right kind of guy. And that probably is what brought all those other artists to him when he started his own record company.
Especially in a business like this.
Yeah.
To have longevity and be known as a righteous guy, and to be, it's hard.
The other stuff that I just love in this, by the time you get into going, okay, these are the best players, and I've been introduced to them, and then to see the way that they felt about Brian Wilson, that was amazing, just that they love that kid. You know?
And it's true, and he was a kid. Brian was working on a different level. As I think Leon Russell said it. Leon said, Brian would basically tell the guys, I played like this, do this, da-da-da, he was singing out, go to the next guy, go to the next guy. Brian would write stuff out, but Brian had something in his head that these guys had no idea where it's going later. until he put it together, they had no idea.
And they weren't even around for the vocals. The vocals happened at different
vocals
times.
happened later. Now, in the early days, the Beach Boys played their first, few albums, and then what happened is he got introduced. I have two different stories now. You never know. I heard it was through Phil Spector, then I heard it was through Janet Dean that introduced him to session players. Now, the Janet Dean story is when he did Surf City.
Yeah.
He wrote that song, gave it to those guys, and played on the Janet Dean album. That's when he started seeing the studio musicians, and Jan said, "You could do this, Brian. Use these guys. Let them do it." And so the Hal and Ray Pullman were the first guys, I think, start to replace some of the group on some of the albums. Ray was the bass player, and then all of a sudden you get to the point where you're doing Pet Sounds. Brian didn't want to go on the road. Brian didn't like being on the road. That was his thing. Is I want to be in the studio. So. Much easier to bring these guys in. And when you look back, you think of the relationship between Brian and the family. I think it was always going to be much easier to get these guys to do, because you're paying them.
You're paying them, and the fact is...
They're not going to argue with you.
Yeah, but he was also learning from them. I mean, he...
Absolutely, you're right.
He had an ear that was on a different level, and then he meets people who've lived in that world for a while. But that just goes to show you how interconnected everything is, because they do Pet Sounds, the Beatles hear it, they take it up a notch, and then suddenly it changes the way everything is. Until finally, in the 1970s, you had musicians who were like, well, we've got to be musicians first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of moved on. So it really changed everything.
Yeah, and the thing, technology changed. Groups were better musicians, that allowed, like the singer-songwriters, like they said, Carole King's bringing in James Taylor.
Yeah.
You don't need my father, at this point. So it just was a natural progression. Someone asked me, the one question always comes up, why didn't they do their own band? Why didn't they become, like the Wrecking Crew band or whatever you want to call it at the time and do their own hits? And as my father said, listen, we got paid a lot of money to do these things. And I made hundreds of hits, but I made thousands of bombs. We're not guaranteeing anything.
Right.
And he said, I never gave anybody their money back.
Yeah, he had, that Buffalo attitude towards it all.
Very
that,
much so.
What? I'm still going to work. This is the kind of work I want to do, but it is work. I got to be a professional.
It's funny because since I saw you last, I asked my mom, I said, when Dad went, the story about the Buffalo, how he got out of Buffalo or Niagara Falls, he went to the dance that night. And he tried. All of a sudden, they said, the guitar player's leaving. Would you like to try out for this band, this big band? He said, sure. Tried out, got on the road, went around the country, got fired in Dallas because they got rid of him and the singer. They found someone that could do both. So now he's so ashamed, doesn't want to go back to Niagara Falls, New York in 1953, right? So I said, how long was it before you guys moved to Hollywood? Was it a year? She goes, no, it was 3 weeks. Dad did not want to come home. He was so ashamed. And then she said, this was the kicker. She said, I said, was Dad working a lot, doing, stuff in Niagara Falls? She says, no. There was no work for a musician there. You had a party, a dance. That was about it, a wedding. Yeah. She said he almost did not go to that dance because he had a job with his trio in Pennsylvania. And he said, I don't want to go to the dance. I got this job. And she says, you got to go. I spent $35 on this dress. So he was forced to go to that dance. He was basically, if he didn't go to that dance, we wouldn't be here today. Because it wasn't like he didn't know what was in Hollywood.
Yeah.
If he didn't get fired, maybe he would not have gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's so many of these little chances that took place.
Yeah.
And different people bring up during the film, if they didn't get that one session where somebody went, oh, that's cool, why don't you come back? They wouldn't have had the career that they did, these moments in time. But I think that's what makes the Wrecking Crew work, because it works on so many levels. It's about this music that all of us know, but we haven't thought about what it took to get from the beginning to the end. But it's also that family story that all of us can relate to of, hey, who was my dad other than my dad?
Yeah.
What did his friends think of him? What was he like at work? I think we all have those kind of feelings.
Well, that's the thing that struck me the most about making the film. And again, it only struck me after we made the film.
Yeah.
where I show it to audiences, and you were talking about how you were tearing up. There's a lot of people come to me later in tears because of the music and because of certain things that happened in the film. You know, when I asked everybody, I said, you know, I know the beginning, I know the middle, and I know the end of my dad's careers. And I remember asking the guys, what happens when you're at the top of the world? You are the kings, you are the, you know, you're the, you know, the A team, and you're not, you know, 20 years later or earlier. He says, well, Bones House said you got the ramp up, you're at the top, and then you got the ramp down. He says it's not about staying at the top, it's taking that ramp down as long as possible. And I thought, wow, that's all of us.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you don't have to be an artist, you don't have to be anything. It's being relevant in life. You could be retired, but you still want to be relevant, you know, and you still want that phone call from someone to say hello.
Yeah.
And I realized how important that was. And then the other one that kills me was where it's now affected me is when I asked Plas Johnson, I said, how did it affect your personal lives working in the studios? Because 24/7 sometimes, because you never turn anything down. Because if you turn it down, someone else is going to take that job. It's just part of the gig. And he said, let's just say I'm a better grandfather than I'm a father.
Yeah.
And again, anybody out there, you know, unless you're so rich, you don't care. But we're all trying to make ends meet, and we're all trying to make it for our kids. We, you know, balance the home life to our job, and that's where I realized this film. I've taken too much out of my home life, to make this film, and it's taken its toll. You know, so now it's like, now I'm trying to get, okay, let's get, you know, but I had to focus. I had to get there, and I think we did it, but
no one works on a project as long as you. It's got to seem so strange for you to know you've delivered it. But part of who you've been for the past couple of decades is this film. Selling it, getting rights, raising money.
You sound like my therapist.
Do
I need to pay you $150?
But I mean, it's so...
It's true.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was trying to be a hero. There was a certain point where we crossed a line. Where it's like, oh, God, you know, now what do? We either keep investing and get it done, in which we did. That was in 2006, 2008, you know, because I'd done 10 years of interviews, but I didn't have a film. And then it was like, okay, now we're in the festivals. Now what do? We get these great awards. We get this amazing reviews from all over the world, but no one's picking us up. How do we get, now what do? Can't quit. I could quit and just say I got a nice award, but it just cost me all that money. It was like all the time of our lives. So I figured, let's keep going. And that's where we turned to donations and getting the word out. We went through a 501c, and people would donate $5, $10, $1,000. Then we did Kickstarter. You know, we were talking to the publicist outside. I said, I've had so much fun marketing this film for the last few years, because it started, you know, coming up with ideas, dedications.
So many of those things didn't exist when you started to make the film. There was no Kickstarter.
No. You know, people were dedicating songs for $1,000 to be on the DVD, and they would write out the dedication. And a few months ago, it was coming close, and I, oh boy, no one's taking Gary Lewis and the Playboys. You know, everybody loves a clown. I thought, well, who's going to dedicate that to their loved one, right? So I thought, I'm going for this. So I start making calls. I call a clown school. And pitched the guy in L.A. It's called the L.A. Clown School. I pitched them. I said, what do you think of this? And the guy goes, I love it. So, you know, he donated $1,000. So I have that on my dedication chapter. L.A. Clown School says, everybody is a clown. So.
See, that might be the next project for you, is just to write a book about this, because it really, anybody who is an entrepreneur could look at this and you know, it isn't about, oh, I have a great idea and then it works.
And the things is, sometimes it works today, tomorrow won't work.
Yeah.
It drove you, and people that do sales, God bless them, because I can't.
Yeah.
I could sit there all day with, you know, ideas. You know, if the door closed, I'd go through the window, find another way around. Someone says, well, how do you get to these people? Well, if you can get around the gatekeeper, you could get to those people. But it's hard.
But I'm sure, I mean, here we are at the end of it, and everything has worked out great, but the number of times that must have just been heartbreaking and just so discouraging.
Yeah, I think, you know when it was? 2010. That's the lowest. Because now we had all those beautiful reviews, and no one would pick us up. And it was And it wasn't the labels, it wasn't the publishers. They were not the problem. It was the amount of music and the amount of stock footage and all that stuff to license all that stuff for distribution is, at a certain level. Let's just give it let's say it's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what the number is. Let's say it's $1 million for everything. Well, you know what? The film's only going to make $750,000 maybe. Why would anybody take a chance? That's where it was. So that's why we had to basically keep going and getting those donations. What kept me going were people that would email me. Someone was sick, or someone, they said, man, the film was, inspirational. Your dad was my inspiration when I was growing up. Hal was my inspiration. And that kept us going. When you get really, you have your highs, you think, oh my God, so-and-so's seen it. He's going to love it. And, and doesn't happen.
But I imagine the musicians that you've heard from too.
Oh yeah,
has got to be just mind blowing.
It's from current musicians to the old guys.
Yeah,
every one of those, they all relate to it. It doesn't mean that you're there at that scene at that time. It's they relate to a certain, that's their lives.
Well, also. The Brits are way more into session players than we ever were in America.
They know more about our
they
music.
know the chess guys, and they took that much more seriously, I think, than we did here in the States.
It's funny because when I went there to show the film a couple years ago, it was great. Jeff Beck showed up. It was like, oh my God, Jeff Beck's there, and a few of the heavyweight session players are there. And then I go to, a party or disco for the film, and the DJ's playing 45s from these guys, and he's asking me about Dave Axelrod and Lou Rawls, and he knows everything about my dad more than I did.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, they're amazingly into that. Which goes to show there's something about we like things and we drop it and we move on to the next thing.
That's exactly kind of like the story.
Yeah.
Because it's like, look at LA especially, because we're a transient city, and it's like Gold Star was the studio, and now it's a mini mall parking lot.
Hard to believe, right?
Yeah, and it's kind of like, okay, this is in, now it's out. This is in, now it's out, and move on. And it's not like that, and they hold on to the past and learn from the past. It's not you holding on to the past. You learn from what you had it before.
Well, you learn to build on it, which is, the whole reason of teaching kids history, but that's why I also think young people could look at this, and again, even look at your story of a way to make things happen,
my dad said you could be the greatest guitar player in the world, but if you're playing at home, who cares? You're not, if that's what you want to do, that's great. But if you want to be heard, you got to get out there. You got to try. For me, it was like, I could talk about it. And listen, there was years I didn't do anything in those 19 years, just trying to survive. I was scared to maybe call Brian Wilson's camp, or I didn't want to be turned down, I didn't know what to do. But finally, it was like, I got to just go for it. And once you get going, you get the momentum going. That's why I'm not a musician. A musician practices every day. That's why I wasn't a writer. A writer writes every day. And I did not want to do it again. I didn't want to go down that road of quitting. I didn't want to be lying to myself again. So that's why I kept going on this thing.
I think the other lesson, too, is, the great thing about your dad is towards the end of his life, it was kind of in service to other musicians. He was teaching people, he was explaining his own history, and it really is about service. At the end of it, you were about in service to these people and their stories, Yeah,
like I said, I think I was at the right place at the right time. I mean, I was lucky. In a lot of ways, I just didn't want that to be the biggest regret in my life is, I should have told that story. I should have recorded those guys. I should have filmed those guys. And I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I got Glenn when I got Glenn.
Yeah, it was amazing, too. His personality through that, of being a guy who, you had two people who actually went on to become stars themselves, Leon Russell and Glenn Campbell. But Glenn's attitude about it all, it was almost like that was more of a highlight of his life.
It was. It's funny you said that.
Than being a star.
That's so true, and that's what he said. And I don't think it's in the, I don't know if it's in the film. I know it's off camera or an outtake. He said, I love being a sideman. It was so much pressure being the leader. The TV show and all this. Everybody's looking at you. Everybody wants you. Being a sideman, there was nothing better. You go in, you do your thing, you hang out, and you have fun. And it was the best time of his life.
Yeah.
And it was... My dad said, sit next to Glenn Campbell, who could not read a piece of music.
Which is crazy that he would have that gig.
Yeah. Glenn could not read a note. But my dad said he was the best rock guitar he sat next to in those days. He had the ears of an elephant. He might ask the guys, my dad or whoever, say, hey, what's going on here? Da, da, da. Just explain it to him. And he's like, boom.
He ran with it.
You just point to Glenn, he's gone. And that's what he was like. He was that phenomenal. Leon Russell, the latest thing, and Leon is the latest thing I added to the film. Phenomenal, because he's so honest.
Yeah.
And I love when I asked him. I said, Leon, did you ever get bored? He said, oh God, yes. And you could just see him just saying, oh God, yes. He says, you're sitting there laying down tracks. You laid it down 10 times. You've gone through it 10 times. You don't even know what the lyric is because you haven't seen the vocals. He says, by the 10th time, I'm writing my own lyrics to that song.
Yeah.
And you go, oh my God, what would the lyrics of, one of those Sonny and Cher dates have been?
Well, that's the thing. If you think about it, he took those skills that he picked. I mean, he was an Okie kid when he got there. He took those skills to England, worked with Joe Cocker, then his own thing. So everything is connected, when you just to think of how many things are rolling. And then if you don't have Leon Russell, you probably don't have Elton John. And that thing just,
they feed off each other.
Yeah.
They influence each other. Cultures do that. It's amazing. Yeah, God, you want me to keep going now?
Well,
I think I should do the Wrecking Crew 2 now.
Well, there's the thing. I mean, there is.
Don't tell my wife, by the way.
There is kind of that interesting thing that took place in the 70s with Waddy and those guys, which was the next.
And it's funny because those, as much as my dad's my hero, the next generation, the 70s guys, the Picaros and the Steve Gads, and Waddy and Lukather and Larry Carlton and those guys. That music for me was like, and even who said it the other day? Slide Hyde was with us, who's one of the great trombone players, and he got to do a lot of Steely Dan stuff. Now he's in his 80s. He goes, when we started doing the Steely Dan things, that started getting a little more interesting for us.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, this stuff is good.
Yeah.
I mean, not that the stuff that he did with the Beach Boys wasn't good, but it's starting to get a little more, I don't know, it's more up their speed. There's more things to think,
Well, I saw Larry Carlton play a couple years ago, and I know he loved your dad and thought everything your dad. And I was just sitting there. I couldn't believe how great he is.
Those guys were. It's funny because you've seen them.
Yeah.
Some of these players. I forget how until I see a player go, oh my God! I went to the Baked Potato the other day at with Don Randy's club in L.A. and went, you can see these guys playing. Go, and I don't even know who these guys are sometimes. And you go, oh my God, that's right. That's what this is about. Amazing players, monsters.
Not only that, but some of the footage that you have from that time. I mean, to me, when I think of L.A., I think of L.A. in that time period.
Yeah.
So when I go to L.A. now, I'm like,
still looking.
Yeah, I'm like, where exactly is that kind of precious, pristine era where there was plenty of room and everything looked nice. But that, I mean, you're talking about right place, right time. That had to be a fabulous time for you to be growing up. You
know what? I grew up in the valley. I grew up in the suburbs. I didn't, I look back and people assume I was hanging out with Dad at the studios, or I didn't. Dad said to my mom, he says, when I asked my mom that, Mom said, Dad always said, a plumber doesn't take his wife to work. So we weren't hanging out in studios. I never saw my dad work, maybe a couple times until the 70s later. But, so I didn't get to see all that stuff. It would have been, God, I wish they had more film of it though.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, like I said, that's part of this film that, yes, it's about the music and it's about these players, but it's about sons thinking about fathers, and I think that we all do it. Dude, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Again, I can't I said it 3 years ago. I can't say enough good things about the film The Wrecking Crew. Now available to rent on iTunes, wreckingcrewfilm.com for screening locations and additional information. And it's also facebook.com/The Wrecking Crew.
And, you know, I got to thank Magnolia Pictures because they're the ones that really finally got us out there.
It's amazing,
and
man.
I think everybody's blown away by what we've been able, the fans have done. I mean, they're spreading the word, and I'm so happy that Magnolia said, "Yeah, we're going to put extra outtakes on there." Because
that's cool, man.
I was scared because I never stopped interviewing people.
Yeah.
Last week I just interviewed Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis, The Fifth Dimension. You know, I just needed to.
It's going to keep on going with it.
I just want to make sure history's recorded. That's all.
Well, you know, here's the weird thing. We were saying before, like, this music, which has outlived these players, but now this film is going to outlive you. You know, people will,
I hope so,
one day look back on this film as that period in time. It's great.
I hope so.
All right, dude, I'll see you next time,
Thank
man.
you so much.
Ron and Fez on Raw Dog.
Raw Dog Comedy.
Hits. Channel 99.
It's the Ron and Fez Show. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. I want to thank Denny Tedesco for being here. It's amazing to see this finally released. The Wrecking Crew, now available to rent on iTunes. Go to wreckingcrewfilm.com for screening locations, additional information. Twitter, it's at Wreck Crew Film. 3 years ago, I met him and was talking to him, and that was really, you know, he was doing it 16 years before that. I just find this to be amazing. Not only did, you know, we were just talking, but an old buddy of mine, Dennis Joyce, from listening, became an executive producer. He's the guy who introduced us to Jerry Barker years ago. He and I had a falling out over a phone call. And, you know, maybe it's time for me to build some bridges, Fez, you know?
You do not want to be friends with Dennis Joyce again.
Step work. It's all about step work. Making amends. Finding a place to be there.
You remember what he did, right?
Yes.
Barker freaked out because I was making out with Paul Lowe in the studio, and then Dennis called in acting all tough for Jerry Barker.
I know, but you know what?
I haven't forgotten it.
I know you haven't, but you know, life moves on. I mean, here's, you know, we were just talking about those things, but we wouldn't have met Barker if it wasn't for Dennis. He wouldn't have met Denny Tedesco if he wasn't a listener to the show. He wouldn't have got into the Stranger Band the way he did over the years. You know, it's all worked out nice.
Keep your distance from Dennis Joyce is what I would say.
Remember we all went out to see that film?
Yes, and that was the same night as the switch up on the dinner, where we were promised this really good restaurant. At the last second, we went to one that was not nearly as great.
But who gives a shit, Fez? Why are those things important to you? You're not even, you don't even have synesthesia. You know, this Bill Murray on a horse in a dress thing, does he realize he's already Bill Murray? He doesn't even need to do more.
I'm just so disappointed in this.
Why?
There's transgender issues out there, and we've had nothing but a week of late night with men thinking...
You're mad at Bill Murray, your hero?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm more disappointed and hurt.
Wow, I didn't realize that. So it's a bad thing for a man to put on a dress?
Not if I think it's mocking the transitioning people.
Why don't you ever see what it is from the beginning? It was always about mocking women. You guys bypass women. I guess women take a joke better than anybody. You know, like when the old comics would dress up in dresses, or the Pythons. It never was about transgender people. It was about women. God, you're sensitive fucking folks. That fucking rainbow flag of yours must have thorns on it, because you're always hurt. It's women, Fez. There's not even enough transgender people around to make fun of.
I just wondered, what if poor Bruce Jenner's watching this?
Not the 180 million already women born with vaginas who seem to be loving Bill Murray. You went from being Bill Murray's biggest fan to he rides a horse out. Here's another thing that has happened. And they've done an unbelievable job with this, ABC. They have transitioned Jimmy Kimmel to being the grand old man of late night. He just seemed like he was the kid last year, and they've reframed this thing, and it's true. He's going to be the guy on late night with the most years, and I'm starting to think to myself, Jimmy Kimmel, that's a man I can trust.
Yeah, as of May 20th, he's the grand old man of late night.
I should have said grand old man of late night. That would have been a great line. All right, 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. I wouldn't mind putting Shelby in address. Shelby, you faked what yesterday? Food poisoning?
Yes.
Someone said to me, how's his job interview? And I said, I hope it went well. I'll sign off on it.
Sound great.
So is that where you went yesterday?
No, I had diarrhea all day.
Diarrhea of the what?
Asshole.
Instead of the mouth?
Yes.
So you were sick and you take it back to Chinese food?
Correct. One of the 3 places I am a regular at, and just took a gamble and it did not go well.
Have you ever put a dress on?
I don't believe I have.
This might be lucky times for you. There was this guy in my neighborhood. I'm not going to name him. We were in high school at the time, probably seniors. So he was a thin Irish guy. Just a regular looking dude. But he dressed up for Halloween. Didn't make a bad looking woman. And as part of the fun, he went out after the Halloween party to a bar. Dudes were buying him drinks all night. We see him later, a week later, he puts a fucking dress on. And we're like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to go out and drink for free. This motherfucker started cross-dressing just to feel his apple. You know, he's like, ain't that funny? I go, maybe it was funny first 4 times. Now you're a fucking dude who dresses up like a woman.
For me, I don't think it would even take that much makeup. For a lot of guys, they have to just, like, plaster
You
it
want
on.
to do that next week? You want us to get a full makeover for you and see if you can go out and live as a woman?
Sure.
With your lips, I bet you get a Liv Tyler thing going.
Yeah.
Let's figure out who we know in the fashion industry. I mean, I want to get them a really great makeover. You know, I don't want it to be funny, you know? And then I want you to go out, pick up a dude, have sex with him, and then show him your penis and yell, you just got Ron and Fez punked.
And they'll beat me to death, and we'll have a whole fun thing with it.
Let's not turn it into into a negative. Tom, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Ron, you mentioned that Shelby went on a job interview. Is this the start of corporate Shelby?
I already told you today that Chris is in rehab. I lied about the corporate thing to try to protect him. But since today we're unveiling all the carny, boom, there it is. Jeff in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Was his name Earl, and was he black, or was that just a ruse, too?
Here's the thing about Black Earl. I can't take any credit for this. Earl wears black on a daily basis. Now, O&A started to call him Black Earl because he wore black and then his skin was black, and it made it extra fun for everybody. 866 Ron Zero Fez. 866 Ron Zero Fez. I never, in all the years I've known you, you're the number one Bill Murray fan, Fez. Number one Bill Murray fan.
Always.
And you would give up your Bill Murray fandom just because he wore a dress.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed in this stunt.
Now that I know that, you will turn on me one day. You will turn on me. Because I would have sworn that the two people that you never would have turned on, Nature Boy Ric Flair and Bill Murray.
I will never turn on you.
A lot of people are shocked, saying that they never expected to see you angry and hurt about anything. Here's another thing. You can't sit around and these people won't look at. We've said where Chris is. You've got to be nuts not to have gotten the point now. We all know where he is. And yet they all come back. I wouldn't. Who do you think would make a better woman, Shelby or MK?
Wow, MK would make a great woman.
I don't even think it's going to be close. I think it's Shelby. He's got the beautiful eyes and the beautiful lips.
I would make a better woman than most women. I will go on record as saying that.
Here's my buddy Bill in Jersey.
I'm thinking it's card holder 29875, my snowy buddy.
All right, I'm going to hit and bring this up. Fez, a lot of people are writing in. What about you dressing up like Marilyn Monroe? Why wasn't that so horrible? Are you hurt and sad by yourself?
Yes, I shouldn't have done that. Things have changed over the years.
Well, what about for not everyone else? We're not on your enlightened fucking path. What can we do for you, Bill?
Hey, Ronnie B, how about for the new guys in town? Could you play the old Black Earl song for us? I love that tune.
The Wrecking Crew is on this.
I was born and raised in New York City, in a housing project way up in the hood. I dressed in dark clothing, so folks started calling me Black Earl. Oh, and they used to laugh about it, cause deep down they knew they called me that, cause I was as black as soot. I've always been a lazy man, a couch potato with a clicker in my hand. See, motivation I never had, hid in the shadows when the boss got mad. For 20 years I never got a raise. I'm 33 and I never been late. I look busy but I'm not, I'm just walking around. I pick up some papers and I put them back down. One day I'm gonna stop paying my rent, live in a refrigerator box, never get out of bed. I'm Black Earl, a genuine lazy bum. I'll always make it through hard times at any W. Then one day some lame brains came and took O&A away. And at the age of 33, I felt like I was carrying the weight of the whole station on my shoulders. And Ron and Fezzy knew what I was going through. Every morning I'd unlock the door, lay down and I'd sleep a little more. Then I put away the bathroom key. Everybody was depending on me. I eat a chicken wing with lemonade. Lord, give me strength to make another day. Times I felt I couldn't go on. Push a button, throw a switch, answer the phone. Got lost in the van, I did my PSAs. 10 minutes work, gonna take me all day. I'm Black Earl, a genuine lazy bum. I'll always make it through hard times at any W. I could hear Stotso say, Black Earl, you're a genuine lazy bum. You'll always make it through hard times at any W. Ken and Jeremy say, Black Earl, you're a genuine lazy bum. You'll always make it through.
It's beautiful. Unfortunately, the song turned out to be a total lie. He did not make it through hard times, and he's now a vibe manager, which means that he washes Hard Rock Johnny's truck for him 3 times a week. Last time in a blizzard. First day of spring, and we are getting some snow today. But Fez, I brought this up to someone. I only have. You look so nervous anytime I ask you a question. I only have a vague remembrance of this, but I remember that you had gone to a Mets game one year, got a sunburn, and then we had had a blizzard after that, and you standing in a blizzard with a terrible sunburn.
Yeah, at the Mets game, it was right after opening day.
What year are we talking, though?
This had to be probably 2002, 2001, I think it was. And yeah, wore shorts, even my legs got burned. My face was fried.
That was early April.
Yeah.
And you got a terrible sunburn, and then like the next day, it fucking snowed, and it was the weirdest looking thing. It was the strangest deal. How are you feeling with your nerves? Better?
No, just still very, very antsy and anxious.
Do you know why?
I guess antsy is a nickname for anxious.
I don't think so. Do you know why you are today?
No, it's just always there.
Now, I know that Kyle sends stuff in constantly about how you'll take a certain drug and it'll change you and make you feel better. And you said no, you would never do LSD, mushrooms, or any of that kind of stuff.
Never.
And your fear is what?
My fear is that it'll make me even crazier. I'll go completely insane and never come back.
I think you're already there and you haven't come back. And I'm saying that as somebody who's there with you every day. You haven't come back. But there is hope for you. And they call this I think it's called Aerobatics, right? And I'm already talked to the guy. We're renting this plane. You go up with someone, and in this plane, you do loop-de-loops, you turn around, and they say that people come out of this, and they feel wonderful. If you've had depression, it changes. People have come out of this that have been depressed. They say food tastes better, colors are brighter, and they're able to have relationships where they didn't before. You want all those things to happen, right?
Yeah, I want to feel better.
Now, here's all you have to do. You get in an airplane with the guy, and off you go. Now, this is a young man, and he's doing it with his friends. It's up on the iBang right now. There they are. The plane's taking off, Fez, and you have that tube there, and you're able to see the Earth.
Oh, my God!
And you're going to do this. I've already booked it.
They're upside down!
Yeah, but the plane is built to do that. And look, the guy's wearing a Fez.
Oh, my God, this looks like a nightmare!
Well, you're going to be doing this afternoon.
I am not doing this. I am not getting in this thing.
But look how happy everybody is.
I have a horrible, horrible fear of flying. I don't like getting on a regular plane that stays in one position.
Look at the guy wearing a Fez hat like you used to.
He looks like he died.
And look how young the pilot is.
Oh, I know. He doesn't even shave yet.
Shelby, would you do this with Fez?
In a heartbeat, yes.
You guys are in, Fez.
This would kill me. My heart would stop. I wouldn't have a heartbeat. Holy shit, look at what they're doing!
They're having fun.
How about we just do this?
That guy's passed out.
He's in Nirvana.
That guy with the glasses was passed out.
He's not passed out, and he's flying a plane. Look how happy everybody is.
This baby pilot isn't even checking on anybody.
What do you mean checking on how? What's the check on?
To make sure someone's all right.
But look how gorgeous that looks, just having the...
It looks like a nightmare.
The tube around you instead of...
How was that?
You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ, Steph. Oh my God.
Look how proud the youngster is, too.
Oh, God, that's the worst thing ever.
That one looks nice, the barrel roll. And those kind of long looping turns.
Look at her.
It's just on the phone to Heavy Air.
Look at all the blood goes to their faces when they go upside down.
I'd have to look at her when this was happening and say to her, pussy or parachute. It's the oldest line in the book. It's up to you, baby.
I can't believe this is legal.
What would be illegal about it?
Just to go up there and do these dangerous things with a plane.
The only way it would be illegal is if it was somebody else's plane and they didn't say that you can do it.
Like you're endangering people if something goes wrong here?
How you feeling? Yeah, so bad. Why would you do this voluntarily?
Oh, one of those guys looked like teenage Dan Soder. There he is. There's teenage Dan Soder, which is a cartoon I'm trying to sell to the networks right now. Anyway, it's up on the iBank. Fez is going to be doing this.
I am not doing this. I would never quit screaming.
And we're filming it with Fez.
I want to scream now, just watching it.
Shelby will be there dressed as a woman. It'll be great.
Don't ruin it now, Seth. It's been really fun.
Fez, I know that you had the fallout.
I can't look at that. I can't look at that.
You don't have to. It's already over. You're going to be doing it. Why look at it when you're going to do it yourself? We'll get a Kickstarter put in. I wonder if I can send you up in an ambulance plane. So that way, after you pass out up there, we can fly you directly to the hospital. I want to remind people up on the iBang today, too, it's your chance to make an egg stand on its end. And now a broomstick. Did you send the broomstick over and it's up? Good. But you had a big fallout with the skanks the other day, right?
Yeah.
And one skank in particular you thought came through like a hero and was there for you.
Yeah, well...
A real-ass dude, a Puerto Rican rattlesnake.
Louis J. Gomez didn't participate in the Fez bashing that went on.
You are welcome, Fez. Well, who did you have the biggest beef with?
Dave Smith.
Well, good news for you. Louis J. Gomez has forced Dave Smith to apologize. I believe the name of the new podcast is the Real Ass Podcast. Is that it? Because all these guys have 18, 19 podcasts that they put out. So this is a clip, Fezzy, of you getting the apology. Now, would you do me a favor?
Mm-hmm.
Once you get the apology, can you just say, great, I accept, kind of go back and forth the way Dennis Joyce and I did? And you know who really worked that out? I want to give him full credit. Jerry Barker. Thank you, Jerry. So we have the... All right, we do have it. And this is Fez Whatley getting his apology from Dave Smith.
You're in hot water with Fez right now. If you want to look at one of the cameras, can Dave look into the camera and give an apology to Fezzy?
Fez, I just want to start by saying that I've been for years a huge fan of your show.
Nice.
I love what you and Ron do. I think you guys are the best one too in radio. And even though obviously podcasting is the future, radio is a dying medium. I think it's amazing what you do. I have nothing but respect for the gay community. We were at Anthony Cumia's compounds. The drinks were flying. Anthony's pouring drink. There might have been something in the drink. I can't say there wasn't anything in the drink because there's lots of parts later that night that I don't remember that well. So whatever I said, you can't even really hold against me. But I really do. I was
shitty apology. I'm not going to lie.
No, I'm getting there. Don't worry.
But you're prefacing it with a lot of stuff. It's not my fault.
I was actually very surprised the next day to find out that Fez. I was very surprised that he was most mad at me because I didn't really think I did anything over the top. But it did bother me that he was so upset. So I really am sorry. I'm very sorry.
Your apology is that you're mad at Fez.
I'm really pissed off. No, I would never want to make Fez cry.
Do you think he attacked you for saying that because you're the weakest link in the group and he's...
No, but I'm kind of pissed off at you for asking that question, to be honest. I don't think anything like that had anything to do with it or anyone's ever perceived me.
Oh my God, I thought my thoughts were being
smartest,
picked up by the microphones.
Dave Smith, we accept your apology. Yes, radio is dying, but slowly. And we're going to die slowly with it. We're riding it down. So, great, Fez. You had a big win with that.
I appreciate Dave Smith reaching out.
Then I would leave it at that. And don't even add anything else.
There's something on my mind, though.
Good. Keep it there. The stuff that's on your mind is what gets you in trouble, Fez. And your glasses make you look like it's tax season. I have news for you.
Louis J. Gomez called the show. Dave Smith sent something in.
He didn't send it in.
Well, I mean, he talked to Louis J. Gomez, had him say something to me, is what I meant.
I'm just saying this. Your glasses, like a CPA would go, "Ooh, where'd you get those?"
And I have not heard anything from Big J. Okerson.
What do you need, apologies from everybody?
Well, I'd like to see who's actually serious about this. Do I trust any of them? No. I trusted them before, and that just led to them attacking me for being an older gay man.
A much older, less gayer man, which I think was nice of them to say. Every morning I unlock the door. God, I love that song. This is exciting. In True Detective, this is season 2, True Detective, and they have booked porn stars for a big orgy scene. This is going to blow the old True Detective away. The old True Detective had no orgy scenes. I can't wait till the show starts. I'd also try to put Robert Durst into this. I know he'd be open for some acting work. Steve. Hello, Steven.
Hello, Ron. I got a question for Fezzy.
He's right here, and he's angry.
Fez, calm down, relax. If you were able to travel through time in a time machine, find your younger self, and without telling him that you were him, would you have sex with your younger self?
That's interesting, Fez.
My answer would be no. I wouldn't have sex with my younger self.
Why?
I've never had a time where I felt I was all that attractive. So I don't think I wouldn't be attracted to my younger self.
Let me ask
even
you,
then.
So, do you feel that you're too ugly to jerk off yourself?
Yeah. I would.
So you don't jerk off?
No, I do jerk off.
But if you're with your younger self, it would just be like you jerking off.
Yeah, but it would still be like jerking off another person.
Right, you. So I think if you jerk off, then you would have no problem having sex with your younger self. And you certainly wouldn't be able to come out of it and say that you were gay. Because you wouldn't be. Because you were with yourself. You were dancing with yourself. That's what you would be doing, Fez.
So even if I had sex with me, it still wouldn't count as having gay sex?
No. Does jerking off count as having gay sex?
No.
That's having sex with yourself. Now, this is the thing for Fez. That thinking is so hard for him. You watch him wince. We should be on TV just to see him like, what does this mean? Brain hurt. Are you still a big fan of Last Man on Earth?
Yes, I am.
You don't think it's fallen off a little bit since they added all the new characters?
No, I still think Will Forte's hysterical.
I thought maybe you liked him because he was alone and you could think of him as a gay way. And now he looks like, king of an orgy. Let's suppose you were in the Will Forte thing and you're the last man on Earth and there's women there. Would you fuck them so the species could go on?
No, I wouldn't.
It would be a responsibility to the human species.
No, what I would have to do is be like a sperm donor and then just give them an eyedropper to try to inseminate themselves.
Do you think that's how it works, Mr. Science?
Well, I've never had sex, so I don't know how any of it actually works.
You're not familiar with the sperm and the egg? No one ever even taught you that?
Yeah, I know about that.
You think you can hit it with an eyedropper? Greg.
Hey, Ron. Hey, Fez. A big fan of the show. First time actually calling you guys. If you remember, there was a show called Z-Rock that was on IFC for a long time, for at least 3 seasons.
That was Big J's show.
Exactly. Now, if you remember correctly, Big J did play a gay man in that show. So I don't know why. I don't know the whole situation. I don't know the whole situation, but
Why are you upset about that?
I don't know what to say to the caller.
Why not?
Because I didn't see it.
So if information comes up that you're not familiar with, scares you?
Not so much the information of just not thinking well.
Not being a good thinker? What he's saying is Big J played a gay, and that should make you like him.
I don't know what he did with the character.
You don't watch your friend's shows?
I hadn't seen that one, no.
I loved it. This was his character. He just goes like this. Hello, everybody. This is how Fez talks.
Now I'm against it, now that I know what it was.
But you used to do that, Fez. That was your actual character.
Yeah. And then I stopped doing it.
Let me just tell you something, Fezzy. Maybe it'll help you with your time travel thing. When you time travel, to go back to fuck yourself. From the floors of Tokyo or down in London town to go, with a record selection and the mirror reflection, I'm dancing with myself. Maybe that'll help you when you go back to fuck young Fez Watley.
So let's sink another drink, 'cause it'll give me time to think.
If Fez just announced today that if he had the ability to time travel, instead of just aerobatics, which he's into right now, but if he could time travel, he would go back in time and blow 6-year-old Fez Watley. And when the police burst in, you yell, "Relax, I'm a time traveler. This is just me masturbating." Then what could happen, Fez, if you are arrested and you get a jury trial? Use your time machine to come back 12 times from different spots in the future and then say, "I'm here to judge myself."
That would literally be a jury of my peers.
Actually, if you went back in time, it would be your better. What year would you say was the peak of Fez Watley?
Oh, 95?
Take your time. 95 was your peak.
I would say 95 or 2000. Trying to remember.
What made it your peak?
I think 95 is when It Makes You Fez came out.
Came out where?
When it was released, when the single dropped.
It was just played on our own show. Tony, down in Virginia way.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Fez, I have an honest question. If you could take the time machine back to talk to the younger self, would you convince yourself to come out as being gay as a young adult instead of an older adult as you did?
Well, I would tell my younger self that you're gay. My younger self wouldn't believe it. So it would take some convincing by the older self to get the younger self to come out.
If anybody can convince you, it's you, Fez. All right, why don't I'll be 1995 Fez Watley, and you be elderly Fez Watley, and come back in time and meet me.
All right. Hey, Fez, it's me, Fez.
Why is there an old woman in my trailer?
I'm you.
Yeah, you're me. There was like cocks going everywhere. I wish I was taking a jizz shower.
I have to talk to you about something important.
Why?
Because I need to tell you that you're gay.
Yes, I play it on the radio from 6 to 10 every morning. I'm gay.
No, the rest of the day and the rest of the week as well. You're gay. And you should try to work on that so that you don't wait so long to come out.
What I'll do is be a big over-the-top gay like I'm doing now and getting paid for. Tell me I don't get... When did I start wearing that comb-over? I'm at my peak. My peekaboo. I can't imagine what your younger self would feel.
Yeah, he would be...
It's like
I'm trying to think if he would be shocked or not. Because, phobias were always there.
It's you.
Yeah.
You are he. No, the stuff that we talked about yesterday about you dropping the Fez moniker off the air, you're going to start and do that?
Yeah.
Even around here?
Yeah.
Who have you done it with so far?
I left a message for Wiki, and I didn't use the real name, but I made sure I just said it's me, and didn't use the Fez name.
That's not it! That's like if you went in and said that you were going to admit to murder, but you didn't say anything, and just figured the way I looked, I thought they picked up on it. So if they want me, they know where to find me. Hey dude, it's me. T-Bone. T-Bone. Peeking Fez, 1995. Peeking around the corner. Would you tell yourself that it's all downhill from here?
No, I would...
Why is your leg going a mile a minute?
I'm nervous.
Hey, look at me, I still use carts. Tell me about the future. What happens to carts?
You don't want to know. Because you love using carts.
Show me pictures of my wife and children that I've always dreamed of.
That didn't happen either.
Tell me, how's my dad doing?
You're not gonna have a very good February 2011.
Would you tell yourself stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that would make you comfortable. You know you enough. If you could find out your death date right now, would you do it?
No.
But that would mean that you could live every other day of your life feeling great about it. You're like, I will go up in that plane because I'm sure I won't die. I know how I die. Murdered by my fucking partner.
Time feels like it goes by so fast now that that would make it even quicker.
Time takes a cigarette and puts it in your mouth. Look, there's Joe List is like, oh, this overrated bastard. You pull a finger, then another finger, and cigarettes. Eggs are here. Are you going to do this today at 6:45 or whatever?
Yeah, and I also have to go get a broom. All I have is a Swiffer.
Why'd you point at your dick when you said that? I think we got a break again, right? I'm hungry. I guess it's the equinox. I know we got eggs. That's always a good start. If we were on Survivor right now, we'd be so fucking thrilled. Tony's got a question for you, Fez.
Sure. Right this
hey,
way, Tony.
Fezzy, is it possible that sometime in the near future you're going to go back and blow yourself as a kid, and maybe that's the event that you have no memory of?
Would you rather blow yourself or get blown by yourself?
I would rather get blown by myself.
There it is. Seriously, if the fucking teacher doesn't fucking yell at us for teasing the retard, I don't know what will. But your comfort with just answering the questions you've been told is just fucking mind-blowing. Got blown by myself. Is that a correct answer? I'd rather suck my Swiffer. That's Fez's nickname for his dick. Right back. Ron and Todd.
Ron and Fez on Raw Dog Comedy Hits, Channel 99.
It's the Ron and Fez show in the middle of the blizzard, the biggest blizzard of the year, on the spring equinox. And Fez, you got a big plug here to do. You're going to give an announcement. This is going to blow everybody away.
Who's in studio with us? It's Seth Herzog.
Oh my God!
I'm totally here the entire time.
This whole time
I've been
he's
here.
Been here. Why didn't you say anything?
I wanted to wait for my moment. I sleep here, which is weird.
Yeah.
So I just been sitting here in my pajamas listening to you guys do the show.
You're gonna have to stay overnight because of the blizzard.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, again.
Seth's weekly show, Sweet. That happens every Tuesday at the Slipper Room in New York City. Go to slipperroom.com for tickets, more information, and you can follow Seth Herzog on Twitter at TheZog.
Yeah, it's an old nickname from when I was 10, and I thought it would be funny, and now I'm just regretting it.
Yeah, it helps when you hold on to that into adulthood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's always nice. You stay with it.
Yeah, that's always fun. Good deals. Yeah. So we're having a big snow today on the eve of spring tomorrow.
And today at 6:45, make the egg stand up.
That's today.
That is
I never know
today.
exactly when to do it.
You got to do it exactly at 6:45.
At 6:46, it doesn't work.
Well, if you get it in and hold it there before 6:46, it'll stay up for a while. But now people are showing us you can do it with a broom. It's up on the Interrobang. Yeah, I just found this out today. So I think I got to go out.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
So you can almost do it with anything that would normally balance.
A baby, like a 3-week-old baby, you put it there and it'll stay.
Yeah. That's wild.
No, I came in and you and Fez, this is the funniest shit ever.
We were naked.
They were into this locked-in thing about Roman numerals. So I just hear, so what's a C? What's a C? And
C is 100, apparently.
Yeah, because like, you got a C note? Let me get that C note from you.
Right.
And then why were you guys talking Roman numerals?
Because
time travel?
Time travel. We're into time travel, and you realize if you have a time machine, it only works with Roman numerals.
Yeah.
We were talking about when stage managers in the studio tell us how much time is left.
Oh.
And on our show, when the stage manager has 30 seconds, they do an X with their arms. But he was saying you learned it was a C with your hand.
It's a C. The X with the arms, I was always taught, was 15 seconds.
Now, this is the thing. We only follow you, Fez, because you're the only one who went to school.
Yeah.
So there are
Of any sort?
generations of
You
people.
went to no school?
No,
Zero?
none at all. I was homeschooled before there was
Homes or
homeschool, yeah.
schools.
It could have actually been called Carney School. Like, why would we send them to school when there's rides to put up? But you don't know why you do it as C.
No,
you were
it's
just taught that.
I was taught that at 30 seconds was you make your hand into a letter C.
I always thought it looked like you were jerking off.
Yeah, that's what I always thought he was doing. He's
Yeah.
like, it's blowjob time. Blowjob time.
It's in my face.
Yeah.
But now, you've got other people, all your guys do it. They do it at me all the time.
And that means 30 seconds.
But why? A C is not... I think you're doing a half. Like, this is a clock, Fez.
It's like a half moon or a half minute.
That would
it's a
make
half
sense.
minute.
Yes.
I think that's what that is.
You never gave that any thought yourself.
What do you do if it's a full minute?
He just puts
one.
Yeah. And what do you do if it's an hour and a half before we come back?
Then he...
It's everywhere. It's all over the place.
Yeah. He opens up Tinder.
Are you on Tinder, guys?
No, I'm not.
Too bad.
Are you on Grindr?
No.
What?
Are you on Finder?
I don't think that even exists.
No, it doesn't.
Find him.
Find me. Yeah, it's just me. I'm the only one on it, so you only find me.
You know what? You could go on, Fez, with that mustache. You could go on 1800 sheriffs. There's a thing just for guys that obsess with the old sheriff look.
It's
if
true.
You want to meet other 19th century sheriffs.
But everyone's picture is Sam. Yosemite Sam is everyone's picture.
Fez is up to play that in the movie. It's why he's growing.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, Yosemite Sam's dad.
Because you were this close to playing the Lorax. You were like the fifth one. I heard.
And then they decided to animate
They
it.
animated, and they're like, you ruined the whole thing. You would have left this show.
Yeah, but you know what? You could still just be the one guy that's not animated. They do those things.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I could do that. Maybe they could just even put those little screen capture balls on me for the Lorax 2.
Someone's going to put their balls on you if you want to call
No
them
matter
screen,
what.
call them screen capture if that keeps you from crying. Just write it out, dude. It all
With that stash, you will get balls on you anywhere you go.
It's true. It is true.
Yeah, that's a very attractive stash.
I don't know this for sure, but I would imagine it feels good on someone's balls.
All right, well, stand up away from that. Because now you can't see it here, but in the light of day, you can only see the bright side of his mustache.
Yeah, no one knows this, but he has a two-tone stash.
Yeah.
I see a white and gold stash. A lot of people have said they see a black and blue stash.
It goes that way.
Yeah.
Now, the reasoning behind that, a lot of people say, does Fez have a cold? Because they think one side of your face is snotty.
It's just darkened.
Yeah.
It's not.
And I go, that's just his attitude. It's not actually happening.
No, that's just his evil side.
It's not a one nostril
Oh,
cold.
yeah, get up and do like good side, bad side. Let's see how it works. Yeah.
Good side. Evil Fez.
That actually, you do look more evil. You
That's-
got to put that out. That's a little bit scary.
That is pedophile, and that's the cop.
But see, the thing is, the cop is the pedophile.
Yes, you find out at the end of the movie the cop is the pedophile.
Yeah. I don't know how many movies there that I'll like say to my chick, I don't even think that anyone else sees that waitress. I'm always thinking that unless I see a character interact with a lot of people, then I'm like, I think he made up that one. I saw one that was even fucking crazier the other night on cable called Stay, and nobody was real in that. Like everybody at the end. I don't want to give it away for everyone,
right?
But it's just hallucinations during a car accident. I'll just put it there.
That's what the end of the movie is. It was someone's hallucinations at a car accident.
Yeah, and everyone that was in the movie was standing over them, looking while they were looking down. And I'm going to ruin that movie for you because it's so bad that I don't want you to see
I'll put it this way: no one was going to see it.
No.
No, one who was listening to this was like, "Damn it! Now I can't go see Stay."
Well, Ryan Gosling is in it, and another big star.
Where did you see it?
I saw it on
Cable or something.
Epics.
On Epics, right? Exactly.
Epics, yeah,
exactly.
Where we get them last. That's their thing.
It turns out that's adapted from the Lisa Loeb video of the song, where that whole video is also her visions of a car accident.
Wow, that
in
song
one take.
killed me.
Yeah,
that song killed me.
Literally.
You say here. I'll give you a little trivia about that. This is radio trivia. That song is the only time an independent song went to number one in history.
I know
no
that.
record deal.
I know that.
They just threw it on the movie. And,
I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ethan Hawke directed the video and made sure the song was in the film. And yeah, it was the only time it's just a random song made it to number one, and it changed her life.
Fez could not be more bored than he is right now. He hates music.
He does. He hates all music, especially
music
girls
talk.
with guitars.
Yeah, anything with music. He doesn't like the sound of music. He works in radio.
Right, but
Hates the
music.
sound of music.
He only likes drills and whips.
Is there a sound that you like?
No. Wind chimes annoy me.
Well, that's normal.
Children's laughter annoys you.
Yeah, that's bad. I can't
You
think
just
of
like
a melodic
dead
sound.
silence.
You yeah. You would make a great deaf person. You would actually love to be deaf.
My ears were wasted on
You'd
me.
just be like this. I'm doing great.
Yeah,
Love it.
And you wouldn't have to hear anyone else's problems.
Yeah, for a change, just your own. They say that people that he just stopped there for a second.
He's like,
he keeps it quiet.
Yeah.
But they say that it's harder to be deaf than it is blind.
I've always wondered about that. Did you get more information from your eyes than from your ears? I feel like I get more information from my eyes.
I think the information is not enough, though.
Yeah.
People say that they're lonelier when they're deaf. And lonely, this just came out this week, lonely kills. It kills people. Now, half the city of New York lives alone.
Yeah.
There's one person. You know, this is a time, Fezzy, once in your life, you're not the freak. You're the normal New Yorker. Now, when you leave here and go into the suburbs, kids make up fucking terrible stories
about, that's old man Fez's house.
He's only got one evil mustache.
He's got an evil side and a good side. Depends when you knock on his door.
But, like, you're comfortable and normal living in New York. But if you leave here, you're the creepy weirdo who lives alone in a home.
Yeah.
And that scares people.
And they make up stories. You have hundreds of cats. You've kidnapped kids, which you probably have.
Oh, that's
but
true.
they exaggerate how many.
Yeah. And here in New York, it's okay
It's
to have a lot
fine.
of cats and kill people.
Well, just in my own family, I'm the weirdo who lives alone, and you know the nieces. You know he doesn't have a wife, he doesn't have kids. Everyone else does.
Where do they live?
Like Florida.
No, they're the fucking weirdos.
Yes,
then.
they're definitely the weirdest ones.
Yeah,
they live
they're
in Florida.
What's wrong with Fez? He don't even have a meth lab. Those fucking kids are nuts.
He's never shot anyone for no reason. Oh, did that get too real in Florida?
Yeah, people in Florida are like, hey, we do other things, like we have Disney.
And we eat people's faces.
Yeah. Fez, you grew up in Florida, born there, raised there.
Yep.
What town?
He would actually
Pinellas Park.
Pinellas Park. He actually went to school in Orlando, took a roller coaster to school every day. He would get in and just ride there. It was exciting.
That's great.
Yeah.
Loop to loops, 3 there and 3 back.
This is my loop. I got to get up, but we'll pick this up tomorrow.
It was odd because the cool kids wanted to be in the front for a change.
No, it is Florida. There are no cool kids.
I will say, I was in Orlando recently, and I got to tell you, it is a much cooler town than people give it credit.
It would have
for.
to be.
It really
would
is.
have to be.
It has a giant population that's like Portland. They make their own. They have all their own gardens. There's all these rock clubs in this one little area. It was really neat.
What, downtown Orlando?
Downtown.
Downtown
just off
Orlando.
Of downtown.
There is like 2 blocks that makes it feel like you're in the city, and then you come out on the other end of that.
Right.
But most of, like if you go places you try to get a loan in Orlando, they'll go like this. So what are you, a desk clerk or a maid? What do you do for a living?
Which part do you work at? We only work at parks.
There was big fights between the Universal guys and the Disney guys.
Yeah.
They go back and forth.
There was a rumble.
Yeah.
There was a giant rumble between the guys playing like the Minions and Pluto. They had a giant fight in costume. It was pretty crazy. I saw it. I was there.
Fucking Minions.
Yeah.
When's the last time you've been to a park? When you go down there, does your family go to the parks all the time?
Yeah, my brother takes the kids there. I have not been to a theme park forever.
Really?
Yeah.
You're missing out.
Been a long time since I've been to Orlando.
The last time he went there, he
Said with disdain.
needed an e-ticket. He goes
It's in the back of the coupon book.
He goes back
they
away.
hand you.
Anyone over 40 is just like slamming their windshield right now, just loving it.
Also, speaking of theme parks, did they still have the Great Adventure Safari in Jersey?
I believe they do.
They still have that? I thought they were closed. I wasn't sure. I was talking about that recently with someone. I'm from Jersey, and they used to have, they still do, the safari. Where
That
you
was
drive
the first,
through
I
safari.
believe. Yeah, at least I heard.
And the baboons would ruin your car every time. They attacked we had an old Dodge, and we had a vinyl roof, which was a mistake. We didn't realize that was going to be a mistake. But the baboons descend on the car and started ripping up the vinyl off the roof, and we couldn't go anywhere. I mean, we were literally surrounded by baboons. Unless we killed a few, we couldn't really drive. So we'd have to watch them rip the car apart. It was kind of scary.
They now call it off-road adventure. I'm being told it's not the same people that own it. It's just a family that owns it now, and mainly it's just dogs, wild dogs.
It's just a bunch of dogs, and there's one guy in like a lawn chair.
I don't know why they thought it would be a great idea.
So you're in the cage and the animals run free. That was kind of the idea. You're in the cage of your car and the animals just surround you and destroy the car.
But I remember being in one and I had the kids with me, and a giraffe came up, and you do not realize, like, a giraffe is intimidating. The neck is like a tree trunk.
Yeah.
And it's just up
Yeah.
swinging around. All it wants is food,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And the kids are like, what are we going to do? What are we doing? I'm like, I don't know. I don't deal with giraffes on a regular basis.
I bring my giraffe manual with me.
My dad used to do a thing where, and he would always think it was funny, we'd be driving down the road, and then he would just get off and drive through a black neighborhood and be like, who wants to get out? We're like, get back on the highway! Stop fooling around! But it was a different time.
That was your drive through safari.
Yeah, off-road adventure. Off-road. Now they're telling me you have to get on the safari bus. The listeners are saying that they don't trust you. They put you in the safari bus.
But it's still the same thing, and you drive around, and
but
the animals are free.
They don't leave it up to Dad to decide where you're going.
Too many vinyl roofs have been ruined.
Too many ruined, yeah. I see. And then the animals, the picture, the animals come up to the bus and you feed them.
Now, as kids, we went to the Philadelphia Zoo, which back then used to be almost all cement, that they would put these animals in a cement cell. And first grade, we're all standing, we're all amazed, and a monkey shits in its hand and throws it at us. And we peaked at that. I mean,
that's what they paid to do.
We were so thrilled, and like monks, like weeks later, we would just bring it up, and everyone would just fall out laughing.
I remember well.
Yeah.
The Bronx Zoo, they still do that.
Even some of the
monkeys,
zookeepers.
yes, the zookeepers and the monkeys have a fight. No, I was at the Bronx Zoo recently, and the monkeys just love it. They take their own shit and they look at it and they throw it right at the window where everyone's watching them.
Yeah,
it's just these big shit stains on the window. It's amazing.
It is a really brilliant thing to do. Out of everything in nature, no one wants to be hit with shit.
No, and they know it. The monkeys are very aware of it.
Sure.
They're not dumb.
I think one day they'll take over. I believe it. I believe that this will become a planet of apes, if you will.
Wow. Okay, you're blowing my mind.
Yeah.
I've never even thought of that before.
Yeah. This could make a good movie.
Or several.
Yeah, 100 good movies.
I feel like this could be a series.
Yeah. You were obsessed with Planet of the Apes.
The original?
When I was a little kid, I got to stay up late one weekend and watch Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston.
Right.
When you were a little kid, you got to stay up late and watch the Civil War. See where I went with that, Fez?
Yes,
went back to the white mustache. But so you saw it on TV. You didn't even see it at the theater.
Yeah.
It was on TV. How quickly after it was in the
I don't know. This was like some sort of late night horror movie, regular thing. And I watched that and I became obsessed with it. And for the next few months at school, I just walked around like Roddy McDowell would walk around as an ape
I thought
in that movie.
I thought you just had bad posture.
No, I was trying to be an ape.
Okay. No.
I was literally aping an ape.
I love that. You didn't want to have an advanced degree like Dr. Zayas. You didn't want to go to the extra monkey school.
No, Roddy McDowell was my favorite.
Well, there was always that, there's a famous Tonight Show clip where Paul Williams comes to the set dressed in his ape costume. And people, first of all, there's nothing funnier than a monkey in a suit anyway. That is as high as you can go in show business.
You're an actual monkey in like a suit, like a tie and
yeah,
suit
and then they act like they're in a band or one of them's a chauffeur. It's just fucking amazing when monkeys can do that. But when Paul Williams done that, then Johnny would show it for years later as the highlight
of the Tonight Show.
There he is. He's just walking out. He's just having a great time.
Maybe
we're watching the clip. 73.
Those leftover dreams.
He's singing.
Funny, but here's that rainy day.
Oh my God.
Look, you can smoke on TV.
He's smoking on TV as Dr. Zayas.
They told me about.
This is funny.
And I laughed at the thought that it might turn out this way. Where is
oh my God.
that I
Was Paul Williams in the movie?
Yeah, one of the later ones.
Yeah,
right?
he was in one of the last
from
sequels.
Escape from the Underground. Just
one of the many
Yeah.
17 of the Planet of the Apes
Yeah,
movies.
only the first one did they really attempt to tell a real story. After that was just pure silliness. Went to camp, but Charlton Heston was serious as fuck when he
Oh,
did.
yeah.
He's like, this is really going to be good.
Yeah.
Imagine a world of apes.
It's like this is the new Ben-Hur.
Right. This is why I'm supporting the NRA, because if the animals try anything
Yeah,
against
we
us.
need our guns.
Do we only imagine it could be apes that would take over? Is there another animal that we could? I mean, they say dolphins are smart, but not having arms that really
And not being able to
limits-
survive on land is gonna
But
hurt
see, here's
them.
the thing: 75% of the planet is water. Start to build your undersea worlds, Aquaman style.
I feel like the dolphins might be able to take over, but it would only be in a world we don't understand. Like they
Right.
could take over the undersea world. They might be in charge now. We don't know.
You know what? They might have taken under. For all we know, right?
Oh, snap. No, you didn't.
Ready for
no,
our
you
fucking
didn't.
poster. We got the movie poster, Fez. They've
Waiting for
taken
the
under.
Dolphins take under.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Scratch the record.
And their football teams are called the People. That's the weird.
Wow.
That's the backflip, and we're off
Right.
to Hollywood. The pitch.
They're in Miami, but they're actually just called the Cubans.
They're remaking Scarface. They
No
just
way.
announced that yesterday. This time, boats are going in opposite direction. They're leaving Miami.
They're going to Cuba.
Yeah, but they just announced this last night, and some people are like, "No, you can't remake it. It already was a remake. It was like a 1930s
Yeah.
film."
Yes.
Yeah. So remaking this one kind of makes sense, but I don't know who you would do it with today. I guess
They didn't announce anyone attached to it.
no, or what the crime? Because I guess if you would have done it years ago, it would be crack, but now it would have to be software or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, right. Who
I mean,
cares
is there-
about cocaine anymore?
Yeah, who cares about any drug?
Right.
What would you really be going after?
And there's
today?
there's nothing sexy about like apps.
Right? Yeah,
You're trafficking in stolen
Yeah.
apps.
it's just nerd town. It's not fun, even slightly.
Unless I don't know. Yeah.
Well, when North Korea shut down the movie, though, that was pretty exciting.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
What was the biggest crime is that it made that movie like your American duty to go see it,
Right.
which was a crappy film.
Yeah.
So you all of a sudden your duty was like, I have to go see this crappy Rogan Franco movie, which normally I love those guys, but I
Yeah.
think this movie wasn't their best work.
Well, because maybe you expected so much out of them.
Yeah.
I
feel
you want
like
it to be the greatest movie ever.
If North Korea wanted it to bomb, just let them release it as is.
Right.
No one would have seen it. But giving it so much attention, it became a thing.
Yeah, I don't know why they thought it was a bad deal anyway. No one was going to believe it.
Yeah.
You know?
It was just a silly movie. And I feel like I haven't seen it, but what I've heard, it even made Kim Jong-un look sort of sympathetic. Like he's like a funny character.
Yeah, you felt for him because he had a bad dad, and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It becomes that thing. Just like I was feeling bad for Robert Durst for a while, but you know what I mean? Because
I'm still obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with the fact that I feel like the whole documentary was Durst's idea. He came to Andrew Jarecki with it. Because Jarecki had done a fictional version of the story, a fictional film that he had written and directed, all good things. So Durst was like, "Oh, you should give me a chance to tell my side of the story," and then did himself in.
Did you watch it from the beginning? Or
I've watched all 5. I haven't watched the last one yet.
It's the most compelling thing you've ever seen in your life.
I know. I can't wait.
The
I can't
way
wait.
this ends.
I've seen the end of 5.
Yeah.
Where they found the second letter that's written like the thing. It's like, I can't believe they've even opened this up again. And then they can confront him with it in the final episode. Right?
Yeah, and that's amazing. But something else even happens.
He goes into
that
the
blew-
bathroom.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen the clip of that.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Why would he do that? It seems so staged almost. Why would a guy who's been so smart and so clever for 30 years...
He was never smart. He was just rich.
Slip up.
I don't think he was ever smart. I think he was rich, and he got to hide behind that for a long time. He still may even get off again.
Well, because it's not admissible.
Well, that part I don't know if it's going to be admissible, and I don't know how good the handwriting analysis is, whether you can really prove that fact to people who don't know the story the way you and I do. They're going to find 12 people who haven't seen
watched the
who
movie.
don't know, and they're going to like, what? 20 years ago and you found a letter and I'm supposed to put this guy away and they're spending so much money on this?
But it's such I think it's such clear evidence. If it's admissible at all, which it might not be.
Yes, but we're not dealing with these great defense attorneys who could turn us inside out.
See, I think they're going to have trouble with motive because...
Not at all.
Because, well, that's the one person, the Susan Berman, that's the one person that he liked. Why would he go kill her?
Well, that she liked him.
Did you not watch it?
Yeah.
She knew. He did it. She was in money problems. She's calling him on the phone, saying, I know what you did last summer. And he's like, oh, yeah, don't worry, I'll take care of it. He goes out there to pay her and fucking caps her.
Because she's had a meeting with Jeanine Pirro coming up to talk about it.
Has she already ratted him out?
No, she was going to.
She was going to.
And was probably getting money out of him.
He had paid her $50,000 already.
This was going to go on for a while. Now, who does the mafia normally kill? Their own.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to cover stuff up. They say that she had mafia background, so that's what the cops are like. Another mob hit. At least we don't have to look into it. If anything, this guy was lucky a lot. Lucky and rich.
Well, there was lucky in the sense that whatever happened to Kathy's body, we never knew anything about it. There's no evidence about that at all.
That we don't know.
That's a real mystery. I mean, that was very smart to have zero evidence.
Now, did you watch the Ryan Gosling movie that was based on that?
All Good Things or something else? No, I didn't.
Well, in that one, they used the same house. He somehow actually rented the house for the movie that was in it. So I was watching it, when I saw that house, I'm like, that house looks like that Ryan Gosling movie. I didn't fucking know until like 20 minutes later when they said, and I did the Ryan Gosling movie. I'm like, shit, this dude's in deep. Now, here's the other thing. The guy who made this money, Jarecki or whatever his name is. Jarecki. He's the son of a billionaire.
Yes.
And then he invented movie phone.
Yes.
Everybody that you're looking at here is like, this is like the Billionaires Boys Club.
Which is maybe why Durst trusted him. Because he was like, oh, he's another sort of guy like me. But they're very different people. I mean, I know Andrew a little bit. He's a good dude. I've been to that house, his dad's house, which is pretty amazing in Gramercy Park.
That giant.
His dad's house is on Gramercy Park. They had the Country Music Awards was in New York. They had the post party there, and it was country music stars everywhere apparently.
But I
don't know who any of them are.
You would know. You're like,
I guess one of them is Brooks, and one of them is Dunn. I guess I don't know.
So you're there and you're seeing how the other people
it was
live.
an incredible
Unbelievable.
house. Yeah.
Unbelievable when you've got that kind of money that you're like, and I own this large building that sometimes I sleep in New York City.
Yeah.
You know? Because if you look at the most expensive places in the city, most of them it's not even their primary residence. You know? They're just here sometimes.
That's like a lot of the Europeans. I mean, most of the Manhattan apartments, a lot of them are owned by Europeans or Chinese or Russians.
Yeah.
And they're here whenever they're here.
That's why it's so expensive for Americans to live here, because the prices go up. They're like, yes, we have an endless amount of money. We'll just keep a place. But you go past these beautiful buildings and you'll look up and you'll see like 10 apartments lit. And you're like, why can't we go up in the rest of those places and just spend tonight there?
Because they don't Airbnb their shit.
Are you going to watch this if it makes it to Court TV? Because Court TV's got to pick up the next trial.
Does Court TV still exist? I thought it was over.
It's still out there.
It's
Well,
still
they don't call it Court TV, but the top mom's on there.
True TV.
What is it?
But True TV.
No,
True
it's not-
TV was Court TV. That's what I'm saying.
One that,
but True TV's all comedy.
Jenny
now.
Hop was on it.
HLN, Headline News.
Headline News.
HLN.
Yeah.
If they air, oh my God, if they air the Durst trial, of course I will watch that. Everyone will watch that. We're all invested in this case now.
I feel like I could be called to the stand if they needed me. I didn't watch it haphazardly like Fez does. I can't believe that. I was screaming during that part because I never followed any of the history of this trial. You know what I mean? And I just didn't know anything about it before. So it was all being laid out like new information. To me, like a great show.
And it's not just one trial, which is amazing. It's 3 murders.
Yeah. And now they say he might have killed 2
other people that we didn't even know about.
2 California girls that were hitchhiking or something.
What?
Yeah,
that's
2
not
young
like
girls.
him.
I know.
He only kills people who really annoy him.
Maybe
Apparently.
he picked them up in the car and they just started chewing gum.
Yeah.
They changed the fucking channel on the radio. Anything could happen.
Wow.
To set him off.
Wow.
But they also said they found him with a latex mask that he was
Yeah, I saw that. So why the timing of it I find a little weird because this happened when they confronted him with the evidence like 2 years ago, before it aired. Why is he only trying to leave town now?
I don't think he thought they were going to run it. Even they
Really?
said his family was kind of digging the first couple episodes, like, "Oh, you're coming off pretty good in this, Robert. This is
Really?
nice." And as it went along, he starts going, "Oh shit, he's using that."
Right. So then he finally was going to leave town the day before it aired.
Yeah.
Why would he leave town 2 years ago? I don't know. It
Why
just
was he
seems
in
weird to me.
Galveston? Why was he dressed as a mute woman?
Yeah.
Why is he stealing hoagies? Nothing he does makes fucking sense.
Stealing hoagies. We've all stolen a hoagie
Yeah.
now and then in our day. Yeah, it's none of it makes the timing of it seems so weird. And if the police knew about it, why did they wait to arrest him till last weekend?
I don't think they knew shit. I think that your buddy did all the work. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
But then he had to tell them. At some point, he had to tell
Yeah,
them.
you got to tell, or else it's against the law, right? But then he even said that they had that stuff for years and they didn't know. They never listened to the bathroom scene, right? They just felt like it was over. So it's like if we got up and we left, and Fez was still on here and the mic was on, and he was like, "Those two dickheads, fucking assholes." We
Right.
wouldn't know until some intern found that years
Right.
later. And they will find it, Fez.
You talk to yourself a lot into
You
that
do.
mic.
What did you do?
I killed them all, of course. But even the talking to himself was crazy.
But you know who does that? People who live alone. Fez, you say you always talk to yourself out loud.
Yeah.
What kind of shit do you say in your apartment to yourself?
It's a lot of things like, especially in the morning, you better get up. You need to get up. I'll say that out loud. I will ask myself, do I have anything to eat?
You're your own nagging wife.
I am.
You got to get up, Fez. Get up. I want to sleep more. No!
You have to get up. I've screened that and used that tense of you.
Well, then if you go back and watch Durs, it felt like two separate personalities talking.
Yes.
And that's what freaked me out.
Clearly, he has the conscious talking to him.
Right.
And then himself who's trying to hide it.
Like, you did it.
You did. It's like,
And you're like-
what did you do? Killed them all, of course.
Oh, God.
It's so creepy.
Oh, God.
It almost seems so staged. That's why it's
I know.
too real. It's too, like it didn't seem like someone would actually do that.
Do you have two personalities when you talk to yourself?
Usually when I talk to myself, I'm a much nastier person. It's like...
You couldn't be. I know you. You're all right. You could be tied.
You're mean to yourself?
It's not a pleasant voice.
Yeah.
So you're never kind to yourself?
No. It's like if I...
You never say, like, let's get you some pudding.
No, that never
You ever
comes
say,
up.
you've had a good day today, Fez. You've been a good boy.
No.
You get an extra spanking.
Time for you to take your dick out and twirl it.
Yeah.
You say stuff like that?
I've never... I'll try it this weekend, but I've never said anything about my dick twirling.
See, the thing is, he says he talks to himself, but I think he talks to a severed head that he keeps down there.
Do you disparage yourself a lot? Like, ugh, you're such a mess. No one will ever love you.
Yeah.
You're ugly and you're stupid. What do you say? What's the worst thing you've ever said to yourself?
I think it was like, why don't you just fucking die?
Jeez. Doesn't your other voice realize that they'll die too? Oh, fucking
Not in the heat of the moment.
Bitch.
I don't want to get too deep into this, but which parent's voice do you hear saying that?
Ooh. I know
Wow,
without
it's
him
in
even
my
saying it.
own voice.
But is it your mom's voice or is it your
It would be
dad's
my
voice?
mother's,
Your
yeah.
mother's voice, yeah.
See, here's the thing. Fez, you claim that your mom abused you emotionally and even physically when you were a kid. But when he yells at interns, I've seen him like lose it on interns. He calls them little shits, which is what his mom used to call him. And it's like so ridiculous. Like, who calls someone a little shit?
I know.
And he'll be like, "You little shit, you're nothing. I'm gonna get it." And like he'll yell, and I'll be like, "That's your mom doing that. That's not you."
Yeah. It's definitely her voice.
See, The thing is, when Fez tells his abuse story, it is no different than anyone else who grew up in the same era. You know, like we come from the smacked era, you know?
Yeah.
But me, and I know my friends, we didn't take it so personal. You know what I mean? We just felt like, you know, you got it coming, and then when it's over, everything returns to normal. Fez held on to it. Like it,
right.
It hurt his feelings, and not just
getting smacked a little bit.
And not just his skin, but your feelings.
Yeah. I got spanked a fair amount when I was a kid, and I didn't, you know, I never thought of it as abuse. I was like, you know what, I wanted and deserved that spanking.
Yeah, sure. Now you pay people to do it.
Yeah, extra. I pay my mom extra.
I always talk about this. What I did is just took a big bump when they did. As soon as they started smacking, I went down hard, acting like I hit my head, curled up. My shoulders out.
Like a soccer player,
yes,
faking it.
Just took a flop. Just took a huge flop and went down. And I would recommend that to abuse victims.
That's very smart.
Yeah, stuntmen this shit.
Oh yeah.
You can see Seth Herzog next Tuesday at the Slipper Room in New York City. That's for his show Sweet. That happens every Tuesday. Slipperroom.com for tickets and more information. And you can get info on the show's lineup by going on Twitter at the Zog.
There you go.
Legendary show. No, you never know who's going to show up.
Never know who's going to show up. We have tons of great people showing up all the time. Not just comics, but actors. Justin Long and Jerry O'Connell show up a lot to perform, and Josh Charles and all sorts of people.
What does Justin Long do? Well, he does impressions too, right?
He does amazing impressions.
I saw his Vince Vaughn was insane.
Vince Vaughn's one of many great people. He does a great Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
He does a Sam Rockwell, although that's not a super useful one, but it's really funny. Who else? He does tons. In fact, one of the first bits Justin ever did on my show was I had him backstage, and I would pretend to call these stars on a speakerphone.
It's so funny.
And he'd be on the mic, and he'd play them all.
And then when you find out it's fake, but you find out it's Justin Long. Special. Because I think that I could, if I managed his career, turn him into a bigger star than all the people that he impressed. I think he's amazing.
He's so funny and a great actor. Yeah, he does a lot. He's always working in something.
Yeah, but I'm saying I could turn him into the type of that they would have to shut the mall down if he showed up.
I see, like
that big of a star.
Bieber style.
Yeah, he would be a Bieber. It would be Beatlemania, and people would never stop talking. Whatever he did would be in the papers. But that's cool that you get people.
Yeah, and I would say one of the most other underrated hilarious actors is Jerry O'Connell.
Love Jerry O'Connell.
He comes to the show, nothing prepared, and has the audience in stitches just telling stories from his life. Like, people are crying. Very funny dude.
Every story ends with Pez, cherry-flavored Pez.
Always Pez. There's always a Pez in there.
I think he might even be stopping in again soon. I'm not sure about that.
He's in New York for a while. He's doing a show.
Yeah, he's doing Broadway again.
Yeah, he's actually doing a play that the part that Justin did this summer in Williamstown that Jerry's going to do on Broadway.
So you've got this incredibly hip show going on.
Yeah.
But you never think, oh, how do I go next here with that?
No, we are. Taking on the road could be interesting. Hard to organize the right group and get everyone's tour scheduled together and all that stuff. But we're first, looking to make it a show. TV show. Yeah. Exactly how I want to be. A lot of people, what I'm realizing, a lot of networks don't want to do stand-up on TV, even if it's a little bit.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it. I think, if you notice, Comedy Central's were the only place that does any kind of stand-up on TV, and they only show it at like 12. Midnight. Yeah. No one, because it doesn't sell, apparently. No one watches it. But Showtime's doing a little stand-up. I mean, they do a little bit, but not a lot. It's not a thing people want.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, because it's very cheap.
And plus, you see Kevin Hart does a tour of stadiums. Louis turns around and sells out where the Knicks can't sell out anymore.
Right.
It's
just, I think it's more of a live medium than it doesn't translate as well on tape.
The danger of being with live stand-up.
Yeah, it's also about the vibe in the room.
Yeah.
And I get that. It is about the vibe of the room, and watching stand-up on TV doesn't have the same vibe as if you're in the room. But if you do a show, you can mix it up.
But I like nothing better than short stand-up clips.
Like 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yeah. Somebody come out, do your greatest shit, and leave me with a, wait, who was that guy? I want to turn back. This all happened so fast. Because you could kill me like that. Maybe it's because I grew up watching, late night TV. But the hour I get where it's a struggle for some people to stay with. But a variety show, an old school variety show is where you want to be.
Exactly. So it will do like a half hour format where me and whoever the co-host is be someone different every week. We do like 5 minutes of like topical banter, maybe like a tape sketch, a little bit of stand-up, a bit with my mom, and then another stand-up.
That'd be great.
And that's it.
So what do your big and music?
Let's
some
get
music somebody
in.
cool.
Like maybe like the last bit will be like during the credits, someone playing a song, someone hip. It could be great. Anyway, and also my mom and I are doing a new thing together on True TV. Actually, we're going to tape some stuff on. They have a new show called How to Be a Grown Up.
And what are you guys doing together?
We're going to riff on topics about being a grown up, like her generation's version and my generation's version of like whatever the grown up thing is.
And now there's even people younger than you that it's even changed again. It changes every 5-10 years now.
Yeah.
What people expect out of grown-ups. That's a brilliant bit.
Yeah.
All right, I'm stealing that, and I'm stealing your variety show. One quick question. I get a hold of Justin Long and Jerry O'Connor. These are great ideas, dude.
Thank you.
These
and
are shows
I'll be
I'm going to
back.
watch.
I'll be back next to talk about it when they actually happen.
You know what you ought to do? Sometimes bring your mom in with you.
I would love that. She would love that. She would love that. She is so funny. You literally never know what she's going to say, and it's literally never something you could have predicted.
Now, did you know that as a kid, or did you just think this is how moms are?
I didn't realize how particularly unique she was till I was older.
Yeah.
I knew she was funny in this way that she didn't expect. That wasn't an unexpected funny. It's like she doesn't think she's funny until us kids would point out, like, how could you? That's not something people say. Like, why would you say that? And everyone has that relationship with their parents to a certain extent. But then as I got older and sort of dragged her on stage, I realized that like not only is she a particularly unique character, but people also relate to her. And she has a new hip now, so she's home.
That is.
She got a brand new hip.
That is staying current.
She's staying current. She's very much a hipster.
Cyborg. She's a cyborg.
She has machine arm and shoulder and now hip. She's more machine than woman now. She's going to last till she's 400 years old.
It's frightening when you think about it. Fez, did you feel like you now, as a grown-up, were the same kind of grown-up your parents were?
I feel like I'm probably a more immature grown-up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, I remember when my dad's like, I got home from World War II in the Navy, bought a townhouse, you know what I mean? Like, he, at 21, was already, had put behind any childish things.
Yeah, we're definitely, I feel like I'm totally different.
Yeah.
My parents had 3 kids and divorced by my age.
Sure.
They
already burnt out.
They had already bought and sold 3 homes.
Yeah, and they were already like you still have like these dreams, like, hey, maybe I could do that show.
Yeah,
like, life doesn't work.
They were done. Done.
Yeah, I remember being a kid, and the old men in my family who were physically beat up from the factories. Now that I look back, they were probably in their 40s. And I'm talking about guys who would sit in the dark and smoke Pall Malls.
Sit in the dark and smoke Pall Malls.
Life had just beat the shit out of them.
I never got the fact that my dad's fun was work. Like, if he had some time off, he was like building shelves or redoing the lawn.
My dad built a summer home while we used to go to the beach, and they live in that home now. And every summer he would just build another part of it.
Where is it?
Down in Maryland on the Chesapeake Bay.
So great.
Yeah, he had bought the piece of property, and then we went in, we put in the foundation. That would take maybe a year or two whenever they had extra money, and he'd take a buddy down, and we have like home movies of them, this thing slowly being built over years.
That's amazing.
And if I'll give him credit, it's like, well, I didn't put in the wiring. I brought a guy in. I'm like, why are you playing this down? We're physically inside something that
you built with your own hands.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I had a different summer home experience. My mom's parents had a rickety, rusty trailer in the woods upstate behind a hotel. And they would use the hotel facilities.
Wow.
But I never really thought it wasn't part of the hotel. I thought it was part of the hotel. But it was literally just a trailer in the woods, like 30 yards from the hotel. And we would swim in the pool and play.
But that's the end of that old upstate hotel experience, too. You cut the tail end of that.
Yeah.
You know,
it really is.
When those things used to be glamorous,
Yeah.
you know?
And we all 6 of us would stay in this trailer home, like sleep on the floor. It's so silly.
I know, man. I remember like roughing it a lot as a kid, and my kids never have had that experience because I didn't want to do it again as an adult.
Right.
I don't want to sleep in a sleeping bag.
No.
It's insane.
No, exactly. Like, why would you? If you're not going to do it, they're not going to do it. Then they've never camped.
No, they don't understand.
They don't know what a
that.
tent is.
Yeah, they have no idea. I mean, we would basically go on my dad's fishing vacations, and I can remember, and I wouldn't know how to do this. My mom would make meals on an open fire. Like, I can remember she would bring like pots and pans and would be like frying the fish, and in the morning she's making pancakes over an open fire. And I was just like, I wouldn't have no idea how to pull that off today.
Oh my God. It's not hard.
Yeah.
But you have to have some kind of knowledge of how to do it.
At least the knowledge of this is acceptable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure as a kid I said to them, this isn't acceptable.
Yeah. I don't want to see no hobo kid of mine cooking things on an open fire. Inside fires only.
Yeah, right. But this is why I'm going to love this show with your mom, because life changes so fast, now faster than ever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And our references are very small. She only really remembers Howdy Doody and Johnny Ray. If you're not talking about Howdy Doody and Johnny Ray, she has nothing to talk about. Those are her two.
Johnny Ray was like the biggest star in the world, and he's not remembered.
Yeah, he's the biggest star, but like for 2 years, he was the biggest deal in the world. But they only had like a 2-year span where he was like it.
But didn't he? Did he commit suicide or something? There's some sad end.
Some weird ending, right?
Yeah.
She was obsessed with him. She was right at the right age when that was happening.
That's phenomenal. I can't wait for this, dude. It's always great when
you guys are the
stop
best
in here, man.
I got to bring my stash next time.
Bring it.
Start growing one.
Go up against Fez.
Yeah, we'll have a
mono.
stash contest.
So I'm doing the shave tonight because it's spring. Fez, you getting rid of the winter look? You staying with it?
I was going to stay with it. It's snowing.
I like to get rid of it and get spring started. Off we
So you're going to wear a bathing suit tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be in here in a Hawaiian shirt. I'm going to be grilling, doing
roasting
the show.
a pig on a spit.
Yeah, I'll just have a hose, just be doing the back here, trying to get the grass going.
You can see Seth Herzog this coming Tuesday at the Slipper Room. That's with his weekly show, Sweet. Happens every Tuesday at the Slipper Room. SlipperRoom.com for tickets and more information. On Twitter, it's @TheZog. And be watching for How to Be a Grown-Up, coming soon to True TV.
Thanks so much, buddy.
Thank you.
If you want to, I know Sam is going to do his 3-hour wrestling show, and it's a look back at Strike Force. Who were the two members of Strike Force?
Rick Martel and Tito Santana.
Yeah, you want to stay there till the end of the show when you found out how they turned on each other. So one of them turned bad, I imagine, Fez?
Yes.
That happens.
I won't say which.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet this. There will come a day when Fez is going to kick me through the barbershop window. That will be when he finally turns. And when they do turn in that situation, Fez, it's always longer than the audience wanted. In the old days.
Oh, yeah.
It would be like a full year after the audience said this is coming. Send in the interns because we got to do a quick flip on this. You got anything else you need to plug, Fez? Oh, my Unmasked tonight with who?
Paul Fig.
Hey, am I crazy or should we do one of these with Seth one day?
We should totally do that.
We should totally do it. I will take my mask off.
All right, because I am tired of this fake character that you have. So Paul Fig tonight, right?
Paul Fig tonight on Indie 102 at 9 p.m.
And anything else to promote, or is that it?